Chapter 640. Just leave it here. Okay, please enjoy. Huamin changed into her white lab coat and looked at the breakfast. She thought that Hua Xiqian was a very attentive person. Breakfast was sumptuous. There were deep-fried dough sticks, hot soy milk, pickles, and a box of soup dumplings. Just as she was about to eat, Hua Xiqian sent her a WeChat message. Is breakfast here yet? Just got here. Okay, eat up. You have a weak stomach, try not to go hungry in the future. Thank you. This was the first time that Huamin spoke to Hua Xiqian without hostility. Even when Mo Shui signed the contract, she didn't thank him so sincerely. Huamin's stomach was an old problem. It started when she was in school. Because she didn't like to eat breakfast, she often went to school on an empty stomach. In the end, it developed into gastritis. Eating hot or cold food, or hard or spicy food would cause her stomach to hurt. This was a small problem that even Qin Chu didn't care about, but Hua Xiqian actually knew about it. He even knew that the medicine she took when she was sick was called omeprazole. How did he know? After Huamin finished breakfast, she casually scrolled through her friend circle to see what everyone was saying. To her surprise, she saw that Hua Xiqian had posted something. Hua Xiqian's birthday was yesterday, so logically speaking, he should be showing off at night with celebrities. However, this morning, he only posted a screenshot of Huamin's red packet. Huamin's name was blurred out, but with such an awesome number, Huamin definitely knew that it was him. Other than himself, no one else would dare to send Hua Xiqian 88. After Hua Xiqian posted, the comments section exploded. Ha ha ha. Mr. Hua, what's going on? Who sent you that red packet? That's a huge one. Young Master Hua, who is this? Why are you censoring her? Let us see. Boss, tell me, who sent this red packet? Are they trying to embarrass the Hua Corporation? I'm going to chop her up right now. In any case, everyone was saying all sorts of things. Hua Xiqian didn't reply. He just smiled. However, Su Yu's reply was more thought-provoking. He only commented with 3 words, I want it too. Hua Xiqian replied, I'll send you 88 in a bit. I don't want it from you. I want it from her. Su Yu proudly replied. Ha, then I won't be able to help you, Hua Xiqian said proudly. He knew that Su Yu was jealous of him, jealous to the point of madness. This was the first time in his life that he felt so superior. After breakfast, Huamin began to get busy. During this time, he sent a WeChat message to Qin Chu. Qin Chu had already boarded the plane and would be landing in 3 hours. Huamin was ecstatic at the thought of being able to share a bed with Mr. Qin tonight. During lunch, just as he was about to go to the cafeteria, he received a phone call. Huamin, I'm Jiang Xiaowei. Ah. Huamin didn't know how to react. I'm outside the hospital, come out for a second. Okay. Huamin hung up the phone and walked to the door. As expected, Jiang Xiaowei was eavesdropping outside the hospital in a white Lexus. What's wrong? Why aren't you coming in? Huamin asked curiously as he looked at her through the car window. Get in the car, come with me. Jiang Xiaowei looked at Huamin and said. Jiang Xiaowei always appeared and disappeared like a ghost. She rarely contacted Huamin, but she always went straight to the point. On WeChat, she never liked or sent him a private message. She was truly a cold and aloof woman. However, she was willing to be friends with Huamin. Weirdos liked weirdos. If Jiang Xiaowei didn't say that she was straight, Huamin would have suspected that she was gay. Chapter 641. Where are we going? I have to go to work in a bit. Huamin was a little hesitant. I'll be back soon. Don't worry, it won't take up too much of your time. Okay. Huamin nodded. Without another word, he opened the car door and got into the car. 10 minutes later, they arrived at a high-end Western restaurant. Jiang Xiaowei waved her hand. "Waiter, we're here to order." Then, she looked at Huamin. "Their steak is really good. I'll order for you." "Okay." Jiang Xiaowei then ordered 2 steaks, 2 drinks, fruit salad, and ice cream. Then, the two began to eat in silence. After about 30 minutes, they were full. Huamin asked curiously, "Did you ask me to come here to eat with you?" "No, I'm here to go on a blind date with me." "Pfft, blind date, where is he?" Huamin looked left and right, but he didn't see a single man. "He'll be here soon. I asked him to come at 12:30. He'll be here right after we finish eating." Don't we have to wait for him? Is that okay?" Huamin thought that Jiang Xiaowei came half an hour early, ate like crazy, and then waited for her blind date. What an awesome idea. Why should I wait for him? It's not like I don't know him that well, Jiang Xiaowei said matter-of-factly. You're so outstanding, so you have to go on blind dates too. Huamin truly admired Jiang Xiaowei. She was young, pretty, highly educated, and came from a good family. She really had no flaws. But a woman like her had to go on blind dates. It was quite sad. Haven't you heard of the ABCD law? Jiang Xiaowei wiped the corner of her mouth and asked Huamin. Huamin shook his head. Okay, when did you come to Earth? Jiang Xiaowei looked at Huamin helplessly, as if she was really looking at an alien. Huamin felt that he was fashionable enough. He would check Weibo or something when he had nothing to do. However, in Jiang Xiaowei's eyes, he suddenly became an alien. Jiang Xiaowei looked at Huamin helplessly and said slowly, "If men and women are divided into 4 levels of excellence, A, B, C, and D, then a man will look for B woman, B man will look for C woman, C man will look for D woman, and in the end, only a woman and D man will be left. These are 2 extremes, and these 2 types of people will never be together. Men will never want to find someone better than themselves, and women will always want to find the best. This is the tragedy of society." "So, you're the only one left," Huamin sighed. "Correct." Huamin suddenly felt very grateful. She didn't come from a good family, and she wasn't extremely beautiful either, therefore, she categorized herself as a B woman. In the end, she was able to be within a man like Mr. Qin. Jiang Xiaowei's words made a lot of sense. Just then, a young man wearing glasses walked over from not too far away. Then, he looked at the 2 women at the table and was a bit confused. "Excuse me, which one of you is Miss Jiang Xiaowei?" The man in glasses asked weakly. Huamin pointed at Jiang Xiaowei, who was sitting beside him. The man in glasses nodded and sat down across from them. First, he looked at the empty plates that were left over. Then, he looked at Jiang Xiaowei and introduced himself. "Hello, my name is Du Zhongqi. I graduated from Beijing University with a master's degree in finance and economics. My mother works at the Water Conservancy Bureau as a section chief, and my father is an executive at a telecommunications company. Our family owns 8 houses in this city, and this guy is really honest." He immediately introduced himself as soon as he arrived. It was as if he was reciting a textbook. Huamin almost laughed when he heard this. Before the man in glasses could finish, Jiang Xiaowei impatiently waved her hand and interrupted him. "Sorry, I had to interrupt you first." Chapter 642. Jiang Xiaowei then asked, "I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in your family background, wealth, or your parents' jobs at all. Marriage is a matter between 2 people. I only care about you as a person. I chose to go on a blind date with you this time because your resume said that your IQ is as high as 115, right?" "That's right." The man in glasses nodded, feeling a sense of superiority. Very good, then I'll give you 3 questions. Try them out. Ah, you're going to give me questions. Huamin mumbled quietly after hearing Jiang Shaowei's words. If I don't give him questions, how would I know if his high IQ is his own or someone else's? There are so many scammers nowadays. After hearing Jiang Shaowei's words, Huamin felt like they made a lot of sense. Therefore, she silently ate her ice cream and waited to see what questions Jiang Shaowei was going to give to her blind date. She thought about it and thought that it would be fun. There's an incense stick, the thickness is uneven. In ancient times, people used incense sticks to calculate time. For example, the time it takes for an incense stick to burn is 1 hour. However, when the thickness of the incense is uneven, it can be fast or slow. Burning halfway doesn't mean that it's actually half an hour. Tell me, how do you use this uneven incense stick to calculate an accurate half an hour? After Jiang Shaowei gave him her questions, the man in glasses was a little dumbfounded. He thought that Jiang Shaowei was going to give him a brain teaser, like how there are 7 monkeys on the tree and 1 monkey on the ground. How many monkeys are there in total? However, after Jiang Shaowei gave him her questions, he racked his brains but still couldn't come up with an answer. Bro, it's been 1 minute. Do you know how to do it or not? Jiang Shaowei looked at her watch impatiently. Give me some more time, I need to think. The man in glasses was a little anxious. In fact, he really wanted to take out his phone and search on Baidu, but he was helpless as the 2 women across from him looked at him. Then, Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin and said, Tell him, I can't take it anymore. Huamian stopped eating her ice cream and said calmly, It's actually quite simple. You just have to light up the 2 ends of the incense stick. The place where the flames meet might not be the center of the incense stick, but the time it takes for them to meet is exactly half an incense stick's time, which is half an hour. Did you hear that? Jiang Shaowei looked at the man in glasses. The man nodded, I'm enlightened. Then, listen to the next question, another test. The man in glasses was a little nervous. Isn't your IQ 115? The one sitting next to me is 130, so in order to test your IQ, I still have to ask. The man in glasses looked at Huamin guiltily. Jiang Shaowei continued, This one's quite simple. I'll give you 10 seconds to answer. Listen carefully, there are 4 pairs of socks of different colors on my bedside. Every time I wear them, I randomly pick up a few and find a pair. How many socks do I have to pick up to make sure there's at least 1 pair of socks? Let me think, it should be 4, the man in glasses answered. Huamin looked at him sympathetically and interrupted, She has 4 socks of different colors. What if she's unlucky and picks up 4 socks of different colors? Yeah, I didn't think of that. The man in glasses seemed to have just realized. Huamin added sympathetically, So, you have to pick up at least 5 socks to make sure there's a pair. Jiang Shaowei looked at the man in glasses coldly, Do you really have an IQ of 115? Did something go wrong? I can't, my school gave it to me. I also answered a lot of questions. The man in glasses looked wronged. Okay, I'll give you one last chance. If you can't answer this question, you should leave. Don't waste my time. I can't stand men with low IQs. Then, Jiang Shaowei asked, A robber caught a farmer. He said to the farmer, Do you think I'll kill you? If you guessed right, I'll let you go. If you guessed wrong, I'll kill you. The farmer thought for a moment and answered, You'll kill me. So, the robber let him go. The farmer saved his life. How did the farmer guess right? After Jiang Shaowei asked this question, the man in glasses was once again dumbfounded. These questions were so weird, he had never heard of them before. Chapter 643. This is super easy, do you need to think about it for a long time? Jiang Xiaowei was going crazy. She was going to teach her old man a lesson when she got back. What the hell did he arrange for her? Even his IQ had to be fake. The man in glasses seemed to be thinking hard, but he couldn't come up with an answer. In the end, he had no choice but to take out his phone and put it under the table. Before he could check, Jiang Xiaowei said, "Don't ask Baidu, this doesn't fit your status as a top student in the finance department of Beijing University." Her words made the bespectacled man's face flush red. He was suddenly at a loss and didn't know what to do. Then, he suddenly remembered that there was a woman with an IQ of 130 beside him. So, he looked at Huamin for help. Huamian slowly finished her ice cream and said, "This is actually a logical problem. First of all, there's something wrong with the robber's question. If the robber thinks that the farmer's answer is wrong, that you would kill me, then it proves that he didn't want to kill the farmer, and the farmer can't die. If the robber thinks that the farmer's answer is right, that you would kill me, then the robber has to fulfill his promise and let the farmer go. The farmer still can't die. This is a logical flaw." "Oh. I see." The man in glasses suddenly understood. "Okay, you can go now." "Waiter, the bill." Jiang Xiaowei stood up. "Don't, can you give me another chance? I'm probably too nervous, so." The man in glasses anxiously explained. "I don't have time to play mind games with you, goodbye." "Aw. Then this lady, can you give me your contact information? We can be friends or something." The man in glasses saw that he had no chance with Jiang Xiaowei, so he turned his attention to Huamin. This time, it was Huamin's turn to be confused. "What a weirdo, how dare you flirt with her? Aren't you afraid that her husband will beat your brains out?" Jiang Xiaowei laughed. "You're married." The man in glasses looked at Huamin in disappointment. "Okay." Huamin nodded. "That's a pity." The man in glasses picked up his bag and walked out of the restaurant dejectedly. Huamin got into Jiang Xiaowei's car and couldn't help laughing. "Your blind date is too weird. That's considered normal. I've met that kind of science fanatic before. He's a chemistry fanatic and often makes explosions. Even when he eats with me, he brings all kinds of explosives. It's too scary. He even calls himself a lonely genius. Haha, it seems like it's quite difficult to find a partner these days." Huamin chuckled. "That's right. That's why I'm so envious that you managed to win over your husband in high school." Since Jiang Xiaowei was right, Huamin smiled embarrassedly. At the entrance of the hospital, Jiang Xiaowei got out of the car to send Huamin back to the hospital. "Aren't you going up to sit for a while?" "No, I have a hypnosis session with a patient in the afternoon." "Oh right, I'm still paying attention to Ni Yang's condition. Call me the next time you have a session." "Okay." Huamin nodded. "Also, thank you for today. You can come with me. You treated me to a big meal too." Huamin chuckled. Jiang Xiaowei seemed to be in a good mood. She flashed her two little canine teeth, then, she smiled and said goodbye to Huamin. When they walked out, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan happened to be walking out of South Side as well. Apparently, Tang Chuan's girlfriend, oh, no, his partner had too much fun with him last night. The girl's back and legs hurt and she was hospitalized. To comfort the girl, Tang Chuan personally sent over a check for 200,000 yuan, to settle the matter. It's so damn expensive to pick up girls these days. A nurse costs 200,000 yuan. Wei Liao chuckled. Isn't that normal? Last time, didn't Lord Su buy a pink Lamborghini for a nurse that cost over 10 million yuan? Although she didn't want it in the end. Tang Chuan recalled the time when Su Yu chased after Huamin. How can that be the same? Your ass, Lord Su is in love with her. What's the difference? Their ultimate goal is the same. Lord Su still wants to sleep with her, doesn't he? The two of them went back and forth. Suddenly, Tang Chuan saw the beauty in front of him. She had long legs and was wearing a miniskirt. He immediately became playful. He yelled, "Hey, beauty, your sanitary napkin fell off." Jiang Xiaowei didn't even turn her head. She calmly replied, "No, I'll give it to you for lunch." Pfft. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan almost vomited blood. Chapter 644. Jiang Xiaowei didn't even look back. She threw out this sentence and walked away in a carefree manner. Then, she got into a low-key Lexus. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan only saw the side of her face. She's a killer profile. Wei Liao felt it was a pity that he didn't get to see her face. She's a bourgeois who drives a Lexus. She's probably a long-legged beauty, but her words aren't pleasant to the ears. Tang Chuan was speechless when he thought about how he failed to tease her and was rebutted. "You're blaming her for being unpleasant to the ears. Didn't you make fun of her when you teased her?" Wei Liao laughed. "Hurry up and take a picture of her license plate number. We'll investigate her in the traffic department," Tang Chuan suggested. "Forget it, you haven't cleaned up your mess yet. You have to be careful when you're dating," Wei Liao kindly reminded him. "It's just a matter of money." "I don't lack money. The problem is, if you meet someone who doesn't care about money but lives, you'd be an idiot. If you don't marry her, she'll turn your world upside down." I don't think so. I can't be that unlucky." Tang Chuan was still hoping for a fluke. "If you walk by the river, your shoes will eventually get wet." Wei Liao smiled and patted Tang Chuan on the shoulder. Huamin had never seen Jiang Xiaowei go on a blind date like this. He wanted to laugh out loud. That guy in glasses was really stressed out. Actually, with Jiang Xiaowei's personality, she could handle a small matter like this in minutes. As for why she insisted on coming to South Side to pick up Huamin, it was probably because it was too boring to eat alone. When Huamin came back in the afternoon, Director Li happened to be in the office. "Huamin." Director Li, Huamin immediately stood up. "How's Ni Yang's case? Is there any progress?" Department Director Li had just returned from studying abroad and seemed to be very interested in Ni Yang's medical records. "Yes, there's progress. Ni Yang can now fall asleep normally, but the rest will take some time. After all, depression can't be cured immediately," Huamin explained. "Well done. I heard that you used a very strange treatment." When Director Li came back, he also found that the hospital had changed a lot. Deputy Director Gua, who had been a parasite for many years, and his brother-in-law had quietly entered the hospital to eat boxed lunches. This is so satisfying. The young nurses at Southside would privately talk about how Huamin had saved the young nurse that day and secretly gave him a thumbs up. Director Li had also heard about it. He had also spoken to Ni Yang when he came back, so he was very impressed with Huamin. "Ha! I was just giving it a try. I didn't expect it to work so well. Here's a form for you to fill out." Director Li handed him a blank form. "What's this?" Huamin looked at the form and was a little confused. "This is a survey form from our Psychiatry Research Center. You can fill it out however you want." Really? Huamin had a bad feeling about this. "I'm already in my 50s, why would I lie to you?" Director Li smiled kindly. "Ha, okay, I'll fill it out and send it to you in a bit." Director Li nodded. "I learned a lot from my trip abroad. I'll organize the information and send it to your email. Remember to check it out when you're free, it'll be helpful." "Okay." Huamin truly felt that Director Li liked him a lot. He was even willing to share such a private project with him. After Director Lee left, Hua-min continued to work. After making ward rounds, he returned to the on-call desk and gave some instructions to the young nurses. Then, he saw a young nurse walk over with a small bamboo basket. Head nurse. "Hello," he said timidly. Chapter 645. Hua-min turned around and saw the nurse he saved from scumbag Chi the other day. "Oh, it's you." Hua-min smiled. "Head nurse, you saved me last time, and I haven't thanked you yet. These are free-range eggs my dad brought from his hometown. They're very nutritious. It's our stupid chicken, I hope you don't mind." The nurse held up a small bamboo basket with both hands, to show her sincerity. "You don't have to be so polite." Hua-min really didn't save her for her gratitude, so he didn't want her to accept it. What day and age are we living in? Why would the head nurse care about your eggs when she drives an Audi R8? Seriously. The nurses from the orthopedics department mocked her. The nurse's cheeks were slightly red as she held up the bamboo basket, feeling a little awkward. It was indeed a little embarrassing, but she really didn't have anything to give her. The head nurse drove $1 million luxury car, and as an intern nurse, her monthly salary wasn't even as expensive as the head nurse's car maintenance. So, what else could she give her? After much consideration, she discussed it with her boyfriend and decided to give him some local specialties from her hometown. She was born in the countryside, so she called her father back home, and her father took a 10-hour-long train ride here. She brought 200 free-range eggs, kept 100 for herself, and planned to give the remaining 100 to Hua-min to express her sincerity. However, she didn't expect to be mocked. After hearing these words, Hua-min's face darkened. "She gave me sincerity, and sincerity is priceless. There are many things in this world that can't be measured with money. Being responsible will make you lose the beauty of the world." The nurses pouted and didn't say anything. Hua-min carefully took the bamboo basket and opened it to take a look. "What beautiful eggs, thank you, and thank your father for me." The nurse's eyes were slightly filled with surprise. "Head nurse, if you like, I'll give you more in the future." "Okay, after I finish eating, I'll come back to you. But next time, I'll have to pay you. I'll buy your free-range eggs for a long time, okay?" Hua-min smiled. "No, no, no. If you like it, I'll give it to you for free. It'll always be free." The nurse was flattered. "Okay." In order not to embarrass the young nurse, Hua-min agreed to whatever she said with a smile. Then, he saw the young nurse leave in a good mood. Respecting others was Hua-min's most basic requirement for himself. Nothing would change because of his identity. After a busy afternoon, Hua-min drove to the supermarket after work. She bought a lot of fresh watercolors and fruits because Mr. Chin was coming back today. After being busy for a few days, the matters in T-City finally came to an end. She was going to cook a delicious meal for Mr. Chin, 4 dishes and a soup, stir-fried shredded pork with green beans, and steamed eggs with dried shrimps. The eggs were native eggs sent by the nurse, and even the egg yolks were golden. There was also braised carp, braised chicken feet, and beef radish soup. A fragrant aroma filled the air. Although their home in Imperial Park wasn't as luxurious and spacious as South Hill Manor, Hua-min liked it very much. After everything was done, she put on an apron and combed her hair into a ponytail. She sat on the sofa and took out her phone. "Mr. Chin, where are you?" "I'm still in T-City." "Huh? You're still there? Didn't you say you'd be back in the afternoon?" Hua-min was slightly disappointed. "Something came up and I needed to take care of it." "Oh. I thought you'd be back, so I prepared dinner for you." "Okay." Hua-min's voice message was filled with disappointment. She put away her phone and took a deep breath. She walked up to the dining table and was about to eat when she heard the sound of a key unlocking the door. Hua-min didn't even have time to put on her shoes. She ran up barefoot and hugged Chin Chu's waist. "Ah, you bad guy, didn't you say you were in T-City?" Chapter 646. "I'm just teasing you." Chin Chu lovingly patted Huamin's head. "I miss you so much. You're not leaving this time, right?" Huamin felt extremely insecure. "Yeah, it's all done." Chin Chu let go of Huamin, took off his jacket, and went to the kitchen to wash his hands. "What are we going to do?" "Did you find out who caused the accident?" Huamin asked worriedly. "The person in charge of the accident has fled overseas and can't be found. We can only take the blame personally. However, because I don't want to affect our company's reputation, I investigated the manufacturer who provided the raw materials and sued them in court. The legal team has already gone over there to go through the legal procedures." Huamin nodded, seemingly relieved. "What about the compensation for the family members?" "Other than the compensation that we gave before, I added another 2 million yuan to each of them. The family members of the deceased will be compensated another 800,000 yuan. Our company will pay for this money first. After we win the lawsuit, we'll see if those unscrupulous and black-hearted manufacturers will compensate us." "That's good. The dust has finally settled. Honey, you've been working hard these past few days." Huamin walked over and hugged Chin Chu's neck coquettishly. She rubbed her chin against Chin Chu's. Perhaps because she had been too busy, she looked a little haggard. Chin Chu's chin had a faint stubble, which made Huamin feel a slight prickle. "You're the one who's been working the hardest. You've been worried about me, and you even have to solve the company's crisis when I'm not around. Honey, it's so good to have you." Chin Chu lowered his head and gently kissed Huamin's lips. It was a light kiss, but it was filled with love. "Okay, let's stop being so sentimental. Let's eat." "Okay." Then, the couple sat down to eat. "Honey, do an exclusive interview with me tomorrow." What exclusive interview?" Huamin was a little confused. "I accepted an interview with Legend. I want to bring you with me tomorrow." Chin Chu ate slowly and methodically. Myth? Huamian knew that this was an interview that was very influential in the country. The host was the most famous female host in the mainland, Jean Lan. The people she interviewed were all influential people, and they were all big shots in the financial world and superstars in the sports world. "Are you saying that you want me to go on TV with you?" The ratings were terrifying. Huamin was a little worried. "I'm not asking you to go on TV with me. I want to announce our relationship to the world." "Ah." After hearing Chin Chu's words, Hua was a little bit. She didn't seem to want to go on announce their relationship. Not going to keep their marriage secret? Seeing that Huamin didn't want to go on the record, Chin Chu put down his chopsticks and looked at her gently. "Honey, we can't keep it a secret forever. I'm a public figure after all, and the whole company knows that you're my wife. The news has already spread. Why don't we take the opportunity to go public?" "What are you worried about?" On the way home, Chin Chu kept thinking about how he should announce their relationship on Legend tomorrow. No, he should announce their marriage. Even though the wedding hadn't been held yet, the fact that they were legally married still had to be announced. That way, so you wouldn't be able to get close to Huamin so easily, right? After all, getting close to a married man was a lot of pressure. Chin Chu's suggestion was selfish. Even though he won this time, he didn't want to underestimate Su Yu. Chapter 647. I know. I just think that if we go public, I'll be labeled as Chin Chu's wife, and I won't be able to live a peaceful life in the future. Huamin knew that once the news got out, it would be an explosive piece of news that would set off a storm. It doesn't matter what the label is, the most important thing is that you're my wife, isn't that the truth? Chin Chu smiled. You're right. Huamin nodded, thinking that Qin Chu had a point. GK's 30-year anniversary party is in a few days, you can attend as my wife. Honey, you're used to keeping a low profile, it's okay for you to show up once in a while. After all, you have to make all the women who have designs on your husband give up. PSH. I think you just want to make all the women who have designs on me give up, right? Huamin was smart, of course, she knew what Qin Chu was thinking. You're absolutely right, honey. Qin Chu didn't try to hide it. Then, okay, if you want to go public, then go public. Huamin also thought that hiding their marriage wasn't a good idea. They couldn't keep it a secret for the rest of their lives, after all, marriage was between two people. After dinner, Qin Chu and Huamin held hands and took a walk in the courtyard of their neighborhood. This was the first time they showed up in such a high-profile manner in the neighborhood since their marriage. There were many rich people living in Imperial Park, so someone secretly took photos of them and sent them to the rich circle. Hey, isn't this a photo of Huamin? Let me see. Su Yu immediately lost his composure. Don't look at it, it'll hurt your heart. Wei Liao looked at Su Yu sympathetically. It's okay, I'm not that fragile. Then, Su Yu violently grabbed Wei Liao's phone. The photo in the WeChat group was indeed Huamin, and the man beside her was Qin Chu. Huamin was wearing a set of yellow sportswear and had her hair tied up in a ponytail. She raised her head and looked at Qin Chu with her charming eyes and charming smile. Unfortunately, the beauty was not smiling for him. Qin Chu has been making a lot of moves recently. Wasn't he very low-key in the past? Now that you're swaggering out and being photographed, are you going to announce your relationship? Wei Liao's IQ wasn't low. After analyzing the situation, he felt that it was possible. Su Yu looked at the photo silently without saying a word. Look, I told you not to look. Even if you look, you'll feel stifled. You just won't listen. Wei Liao snatched his phone back. If they want to announce it, then so be it. If the sky wants to rain and the mother wants to marry, they have their own freedom. After Su Yu said this calmly, he picked up a glass of wine from the table and drank 3 glasses in a row. Wei Liao always mocked Su Yu, but after all, they had been buddies for so many years. Seeing him like this made him very uncomfortable. Lord Su, or else. Before he could finish, Su Yu interrupted him. If you're trying to persuade me to give up, then don't say it. It's meaningless. You're too stubborn, there are plenty of other women in the world. Why do you have to make things difficult for yourself? With your influence, you can shake the entire country with just a flick of your finger. You can pick any woman you want. Wei Liao sighed softly. Humans are all monkeys, they're all cheap. There are too many women out there, and I only like Huamin. There's no saving you. I don't need saving, this is good. Although Su Yu was in pain, he was very grateful for a woman like Huamin. Because Huamin's appearance seemed to be the turning point in his life. Even his way of life had completely changed. He didn't live a ridiculous life like before, he didn't hang out with actresses and drink with prostitutes. He suddenly had a goal in life, so, he was happy and in pain. After Qin Chu and Huamin came back from a walk in the neighborhood, Huamin felt a little stuffy, so she went straight into the bathroom to take a shower. However, just as she took off her clothes, the door was suddenly pushed open. Huamin was so scared that her first reaction was to cover her private parts. What are you doing? Doing? That's a good idea, I'll satisfy you. Then, Qin Chu smiled evilly and began to unbutton his shirt. Chapter 648. Ah, pervert. Huamin screamed in fright. Wasn't it too exciting? They hadn't had sex in a few days, and now Mr. Qin was doing something so exciting as soon as he came back. Were they going to take a bath together? Qin Chu couldn't wait any longer, because he knew that Huamian's period was coming soon. So, he wanted to eat her up first and satisfy his cravings. Luckily, there was only one unit per floor on the top floor, so the soundproofing was very strong. Therefore, he didn't have to worry about the neighbors hearing Huamin's screams. The truth was, Huamin was shy, but she was more than happy to play along with Mr. Qin. People say that sex is only possible with love. When you love someone deeply, you will unconsciously want to possess them. Whether it was a man or a woman, there was no exception. Drenched in the rain, the warm water splashed onto the tiles, creating a thick mist. Their bodies were entwined together, creating a beautiful scene. Huamin felt that every time she kissed Qin Chu, her mind would go blank. She didn't have time to think about anything else. Everything followed his rhythm, to enjoy, to find the peak of happiness. Huamin was the shy type, so no matter how much pleasure she took, she would only bite her lips and whisper. She would never moan in bed. However, it was this restrained shyness that made Qin Chu even more captivated and addicted. He felt like he couldn't get enough of her. In the end, he was exhausted. The two of them lay on the wide bed and fell asleep in each other's arms. Tonight was another beautiful night, ever. Since the incident in Tea City, Huamin couldn't sleep well. Because she was always thinking about Qin Chu, it was hard for her to fall asleep alone. Now that Qin Chu was back and holding her in his arms, she greedily inhaled the unique scent of male hormones on his body. She felt so happy. The truth was, Huamin was an extremely insecure person. Many times, she felt like she didn't deserve to live such a happy life. Every time she slept next to Qin Chu, her worries would completely disappear. She was already in a deep sleep, however, she still held Qin Chu's hands tightly with one hand. Qin Chu's palms were sweating because Huamin's grip was too tight, but he still couldn't bear to let go. He knew that she didn't feel safe. Qin Chu quietly hugged his beloved wife and slowly fell asleep. The next day, Huamin drove straight to GK after work. Then, she got into Qin Chu's Maybach and went to the TV station. Her clothes and styling were all designed by GK's stylists. Not ostentatious, low-key luxurious, just now was the character of the two. "Hubby, do you want to rehearse?" "No need." "Then, will I say something wrong?" Huamin had never been on such an important TV program before, so he seemed very nervous. Back when she was the top scholar in the middle school examination, she had never been so afraid when she was interviewed by the media. "Don't be afraid, I'm here." Qin Chu tightly held Huamin's hand and encouraged her. "Okay." Huamin nodded. Just then, the TV station staff walked into the VIP lounge. "President Qin, Lady Qin can start now." "Okay." Qin Chu stood up, grabbed Huamin's hand, and slowly walked towards the studio. In order to make the show more effective, there were a few hundred people in the studio. Huamin and Qin Chu both wore casual suits. Qin Chu wore black, and Huamin wore white. They were both luxurious Italian custom-made, simple and elegant. Huamin also wore her hair up, which was rare for her, and looked smart and capable. She wore light Korean-style nude makeup, and at a glance, she was definitely very good-looking. When she stood next to Qin Chu, she didn't lose to him at all, and they actually looked very compatible. Next, let us give our warmest applause to today's guests, GK Corporation CEO, Mr. Qin Chu, and his wife, Huamin. Then, thunderous applause followed. Qin Chu held Qin Chu's hand and walked into the studio, into the audience's line of sight. The legend aired every Sunday at noon, and because of the primetime slot, the ratings were very high. It was broadcasted live nationwide. President's office at Imperial Star, President's office at Hua Corporation. It was broadcasted live on a 60-inch LCD TV. Huamin's appearance stunned XX and XX. "President Su, lunch is ready." "Wait." Suyu waved his hand and sent his secretary away. Then, he stared at the TV screen. Chapter 649. Nice to meet you, President Chin and Mrs. Chin. The host, Jean Lon, smiled elegantly and walked up to shake their hands. Nice to meet you, Sister Jean Lon. Min was very humble because Jean Lon was in her 40s and was a capable middle-aged woman. Don't be nervous, please sit down. Jean Lon waved her hand, and the three of them sat down on the long chairs that were prepared for them. I heard that you two are very low-key and rarely show yourselves, right? Jean Lon asked with a smile. Min looked at Chin Chu, and Chin Chu gestured for her to answer. She smiled and replied, we don't like to expose ourselves too much, it disrupts our lives. Jean Lon, yes, the public doesn't know that President Chin is married, you guys are very good at keeping secrets. When did you guys get your marriage certificate? I'm curious. Min, about 4 months ago, almost 5 months ago. Jean Lon, how did he propose to you back then? Min, he didn't propose, we got our marriage certificate right away because we were close, we were high school classmates after all. Jean Lon, speaking of which, I have to ask President Chin, I heard that you studied abroad in the States for 7 years. During that time, you guys didn't contact each other, and you got your marriage certificate right after you came back. I don't understand what you did, so I'll ask you on behalf of everyone, how did you plan this? Chin Chu was silent for a few seconds, and then he replied, it's simple, when I first saw Min many years ago, I already knew that she was going to be my wife. So, regardless of whether we contacted each other or not, marrying her was something that I had to do for the rest of my life. Then, thunderous applause sounded from the audience. Chin Chu's answer was extremely firm, showing them the sincerity of his love. Jean Lon, wow. I didn't know that President Chin was such a devoted person. Do you guys fight often? Min, almost never, we have a tacit understanding. Jean Lon, then, if you two disagree on something, who should you listen to? Chin Chu, my wife's words are the standard. The audience gasped in surprise, he didn't expect the Emperor of GK to love his wife so much. Chin Chu and Min went on the show to tell the world that they were married. Then, they would expose some of their daily love affairs. It was simply the rhythm of torturing single dogs to death. Suyu stared at the screen. He only looked at Min. Her every frown and smile seemed to have an extraordinary charm. He couldn't look away. On the other hand, Siqian laughed nonchalantly. That sister of mine is finally showing off her love in public. It seems like someone is going to declare their territorial sovereignty. Chin family mansion, who allowed our son to be interviewed? Are you going to do something about it or not? Lady Chin was furious. He even called the TV station to find fault with them, indicating that he wanted to cut off the live broadcast. However, they ignored her. In the end, she vented her frustrations on Chin Yumin. Our son is all grown up and can make his own decisions. We shouldn't cause trouble for him. At our age, we're enjoying our old age. Don't be so calculative. Chin Yumin calmly watched the TV. At our age, Min, that little vixen, only knows how to seduce Chu and stir up trouble. Now, she's encouraging our son to go on the live broadcast and announce their relationship. Great, now the whole world knows that she's the daughter-in-law of the Chin family. How am I supposed to explain this to those rich wives? I've been telling them that my son is single, and I even asked them to keep an eye out for potential daughters-in-law. Isn't this slapping me in the face? No wonder Lady Chin was so angry. It was because she was slapped in the face. That's your own fault. Chin Yumin didn't help his wife this time. Ever since Min came to eat last time, he had silently acknowledged Min's existence. He even took advantage of the fact that he was still in good health to hold his grandchild and enjoy the joy of family life. Lady Chin, on the other hand, couldn't let go of Min and viewed her as a thorn in her side. No, I have to think of a way to deal with her. I can't let that little vixen stir up trouble in the Qin family. Then, Lady Qin got up and went upstairs. GK headquarters, all of the employees were watching the president's live broadcast during their lunch break, and they were all excited. "A young lady is so elegant, I like her so much," many female employees praised. Jiang Linyue's expression was grim. "Director Jiang, what do you think?" Someone who didn't know what was going on asked Jiang Linyue for her opinion. Chapter 650. I don't think a young lady is that special. I heard that she was born a commoner and graduated from a third-rate university. She's just an ordinary head nurse. She's not pretty, and her body isn't hot either. I don't know what President Qin sees in her, but the only reason she's able to drive a $1 million luxury car is because of President Qin. But in my opinion, being able to marry into a rich family only proves that she's very scheming, very scheming. I don't think a woman who tried everything to marry into a rich family in high school is very pure, Jiang Linyue commented as she sipped on her iced coffee. Her words were extremely sharp, and the employees around her didn't dare to say anything. If they spoke up for Jiang Linyue, they would offend a young lady. If they spoke up for a young lady, it wouldn't do them any good to offend Jiang Linyue. After all, she wasn't someone to be trifled with. After dinner, everyone went their separate ways. Jiang Linyue was filled with anger, so she didn't eat much. She didn't expect them to announce their relationship so soon. However, announcing their relationship had its benefits. This way, Huamin would be at the center of attention, right? Jiang Linyue was right. That night, a local forum exposed some news about Huamin's background. The title was "GK's a Young Lady, the Most Scheming Bitch in the World." Then, it listed Huamin's 10 sins, with a lot of black dots. First, she had a boyfriend before, but in order to marry into a rich family, she dumped her innocent college boyfriend. Second, in order to marry into a rich family, she instigated Qin Chu to move out of the Qin family and maintain a stalemate with Lady Qin. Third, her mother used to be a mistress. If the upper beam isn't straight, the lower beam will be crooked. Fourth, she always acted like she didn't care about money, but because she hooked up with Qin Chu, she lived in a mansion and drove a $1 million luxury car. Fifth, she used GK's name to buy her brother a sports car. Sixth, she had a close relationship with superstar Ni Yang. Apparently, Ni Yang betrayed his manager and Imperial Star Entertainment for her. Seventh, in order to clear her name, she continuously defamed her ex-boyfriend, causing Ning Ziyuan to almost be fired by the hospital. Eighth, he once acted like a pretentious prick. He didn't have a doctor's certificate, but he performed a C-section on a pregnant woman and caused her bodily harm. Number 9, once, when he was drinking at the seductive Fox nightclub, he got into an argument with someone and was suppressed by the Qin family. Number 10, a while ago, he was sent to the police station for assaulting someone. He framed the deputy director of Southside just to get promoted. In conclusion, Huamin was truly a scheming bitch. Once the news came out, it caused a huge commotion. The comments from the netizens were overwhelming. Most of them were scolding Huamin. That was how the internet worked. Many people did not know the truth, so they started scolding him. When the news exploded, Suyu was eating hot pot with Wei Liao and the others. Wei Liao swiped his phone and said, "Huamin is in trouble now. Maybe he was too high profile and attracted hate. What's going on?" Suyu raised his head. As long as there was news about Huamin, he couldn't help but ask, "Take a look for yourself." Wei Liao handed him his phone. After Suyu read it, his face immediately darkened. Find out the IP address of the person who leaked the news. I think he's tired of living. Lord Su, calm down. Her husband isn't worried, why are you? Plus, you're not in a position to clear his name. You should just wait and see. I can't do that either. This isn't the truth. Suyu had investigated Huamin thoroughly, so he knew the truth better than anyone else. What if Huamin was really a scheming bitch? How could he not see through her? Lord Su, this is normal. There are a lot of poor people these days, and most of them hate the rich. They can't stand to see others doing well. It's reasonable for them to slander Huamin like this. But, with Huamin's current status and identity, he's not someone who can be shaken by a few dirty tricks. Don't worry, Tang Chuan advised. When Huamin saw the news, she was having dinner with Chin Chu at a Korean restaurant. She picked up her phone and glanced at it. Then, she smiled and said, "Who wrote this? It seems like they know me very well. When I decided to go public, I knew something like this would happen. In the future, things like this will happen more and more. Honey, are you scared?" Chin Chu looked up and stared into Huamin's eyes as he asked, word for word. Chapter 651. If I was scared, I wouldn't be Chin Chu's wife. Was she scared? Of course she wasn't. She was the fearless Huamin who would get through anything. Although gossip was scary, she had to be willing to listen to it. Why should she listen to those people who purposely slandered her and twisted the truth? She would just treat them as bullshit. Huamin's words touched Chin Chu slightly. He knew that his wife had always been a resilient little blade of grass, growing against the wind. GK's public relations company wasn't an idiot. When something happened, they immediately defended the company and the Chin clan's interests. They even hired a bunch of ghostwriters to go against those who purposely slandered her online. That night, Chin Chu was working in his study. Huamin was lying on the sofa, playing with her phone and eating snacks. Then, she accidentally logged onto Weibo, which she hadn't been on for a long time. Her fans went from a few hundred to 600,000 overnight. Her most recent comment was also flooded by her fans. There were more than 20,000 retweets and more than 10,000 comments. One of the top comments said, "Huamin, I like you a lot. Although I didn't know you well before, I know that it wasn't easy for you to walk beside Chin Chu and become his wife. You fulfilled the legend of our Cinderella marrying a prince. Don't care what others say, I'll always support you." This comment also received more than 500 likes. Some of the comments were even harsher. Then, Huamin's fans fought with those anti-fans. It was a lively scene. "Huamin, you scheming bitch, give me back my husband. You little bitch, why did you steal my Chin Chu? Huamin, what right do you have to be by his side? You don't deserve it. I hope you guys get a divorce soon." All in all, the comments online were extremely vicious. If Huamin's heart was made of glass, it would probably be broken into pieces by now, but she wasn't. Although she was only 24 years old, she had seen a lot and was very calm. Faced with the overwhelming pressure of public opinion, Huamin was not in a hurry to explain, nor was he angry. She just casually wrote a Weibo post, "The past is thick, the color is clear, and the past is light. After years of sorrow and joy, it is as clear as a mirror." Then, there was a picture of a lotus below. This sentence was extremely thought-provoking. Those who didn't have any ink would probably not be able to understand it. After this Weibo post was posted, it immediately caused another stir. Pretentious fool. She clearly graduated from a third-rate university, yet she wants to pretend to be a goddess. Disgusting. Huamin, can you be more shameless? Please let go of Chin Chu and go back to your Dr. ex-boyfriend. Huamin, you can do it. I support you. That's a very zen sentence. Die-hard fans from elementary school wouldn't understand it. A young lady from GK is very meaningful. I support Chin Chu and Huamin together. No matter what, Huamin is still a member of the Hua family. You're all little bitches who hate the rich. Huamin, why don't you post a picture? I saw you on TV. You're so pretty and elegant. Also, where did you buy your clothes? Please link to them. Are you retarded? His clothes are custom-made by a luxury Italian brand. It's the same style as President Chin's. Do you think it's from some store? Please link to them. Your IQ is really low. Please link to the background music for Huamin and Chin Chu's live stream today. Thank you so much. The fans once again started a war of words. Some were true fans of Huamin, while others were anti-fans of Huamin. Many media outlets also reported in real time, a young lady from GK Updates Weibo, seems to be low-key response to scandal. Huamin was just about to exit Weibo when he received a private message from Su Yu. Are you okay? Su Yu's timely greeting warmed Huamin's heart. Chapter 652. Sometimes, a lot of people cared about how high you flew, but very few cared about how tired you were. Su Yu asked, are you okay? Huamin was very grateful. I'm fine. Don't worry about that, you can withstand as much slander as praise. Su Yu actually knew how to use chicken soup for the soul. Huamin smiled, don't worry, I'm in a good mood. I knew something like this would happen when we exposed ourselves. Chin Chu was a bit brainless this time. Isn't it good to keep your marriage a secret? Why did he have to go public? Isn't he trying to attract hate for you? Su Yu didn't understand Chin Chu's actions this time. Did he love Huamin or hurt Huamin? If he wanted to protect her, he had to keep a low profile. Why did he have to go live? It's good to go public, sooner or later I won't be able to hide it. I walked the red carpet at GK Film and Television's opening ceremony, and a lot of media outlets are already digging into it. Rather than letting others expose me, I might as well admit it myself. Okay, if you need anything, remember to call me. Thank you. Then, the two fell silent. After Huamin copied the post, she posted it on her WeChat friend circle. Zhu Lingling immediately liked it. I'll always support you, my beautiful girl. The Qin clan couple has been torturing single people for 30 years. They specialize in torturing single people like us, Gao Ran continued to tease her. Sis. I support you, hang in there, Jixin commented. Senior sister, you can do it, you're the best, moi. Head nurse, you can do it, head nurse, we love you. Head nurse, you're the best in the universe. The following were comments from the nurses at Southside. Just then, another comment appeared. Sister Mian, remember one thing, no matter how you live your life, we only have one goal. Don't go against your heart, and don't regret it. Also, go fuck yourself and go fuck yourself, do whatever you want. This was Ni Yang's comment. This was the first time the gloomy superstar had cursed. Luckily, only Huamin could see it. I'm fine. Don't worry. Your big sister Huamin is an unkillable cockroach, Huamin replied. After Chin Chu finished his work in the study, he received a phone call. President Chin, we found that person's IP address. It's in a dilapidated residential area in the north. But when our people arrived, that person had already run away. It seems that he came prepared. Okay. Continue to check her IP address. If you can't find it, check the online accounts of those paid posters. Then, Chin Chu made a few more calls to influential media outlets. The media started to publish articles that cleared Huamin's name, but at this time, another incident pushed the matter to a climax. Lady Chin was interviewed by a small newspaper. Then, she made it clear that Huamin wasn't her ideal daughter-in-law and that she didn't think highly of their marriage. She also said that her son might have been confused and wouldn't admit that Huamin was part of the Chin family. Like a stone that stirred up 1,000 ripples, Lady Chin's words had a lot of lethality. After all, she was someone with a high status. After Chin Chu finished reading the interview, his face turned green. He immediately called his mother's phone, but it was turned off. Then, he called her home. The nanny picked up. "Young master, where's my mom?" "Put her on the phone." "She's not here. She went out and hasn't come back yet." "What about my dad?" "Master is upstairs." "Put my dad on the phone." Chin-Chu suppressed his anger. His mother adding to the mess at a time like this made him completely furious. He couldn't tolerate Huamin being wronged even a little bit. "Dad, what's the situation with my mom?" "She's probably very upset because you announced your marriage. She keeps saying that she was slapped in the face and that she didn't know how to explain it to those rich people." "Where's she?" "She went out and hasn't come back yet." "Okay, I got it." After speaking, Chin-Chu hung up the phone. Wei Liao and the others quickly saw the interview and said, "Lady Qin is slapping her son in the face. She really hit him hard this time. Huamin is in trouble now." His mother-in-law publicly refused to acknowledge him, causing Huamin's status in the Qin family to plummet. "Lord Su, what do you think about this?" Wei Liao looked at Su Yu. Chapter 653. "I'm not Yuan Fong, don't ask me what I think," Su Yu teased as he played with his phone. Huamin's road to becoming rich is full of twists and turns. "I don't think her mother-in-law is easy to deal with, she's not as nice as your auntie. Of course, my mom said that as long as I have a grandson, she doesn't care where I go. She doesn't care if I'm with a man or not." "Pfft, your auntie is so open-minded. Although the Qin family has a big business, it's still not as big as the Su family. After all, your grandfather is the head of the military, but even so, your family is really lax. My family is stricter than yours, I'm jealous." Wei Liao was telling the truth. The Su family's way of educating their children was free-range. There was only one Su Yu in this generation, so they spoiled him even more. No matter how unreliable he was, the Su family wouldn't step in to stop him. Of course, Lord Su said that Su Yu could play around, but he would never allow him to do anything outrageous. So, other than the fact that Lord Su loved to burn money and chase girls, he had a good reputation. When Lady Qin slapped Chin-Chu and Huamin's secret marriage, the news spread like wildfire. When Chin-Chu returned to the bedroom, Huamin was already lying on the bed, playing games on her phone. She didn't seem to be affected by the news. "Honey, yeah. Did you see the news?" "Which one?" Huamin asked nonchalantly as she played her game. "The interview my mom just did," Chin-Chu said, suppressing his anger. "Oh, I saw it." Huamin was very calm. Lady Qin didn't like her for a day or two. It would be scary if she said how much she liked her in an interview. Her direct dislike of her made Huamin feel a lot better. "You're not mad?" Chin-Chu asked tentatively. "Why would I be mad? It's not like it's the first time your mom is like this." Huamin smiled. "I'm sorry. I didn't think she'd be so naughty, she's already so old." Chin-Chu walked over and picked Huamin up from the bed. Huamin threw her phone onto the bed and hugged Chin-Chu's neck coquettishly. "So, how are you going to make it up to me? We did it twice today. Does that count as compensation?" Chin-Chu's lips curled up as he looked at her gently. "Huamin," before Huamin's words, "Huamin. Well, of course, I'm, Huamin's, tut, and mean. Young master, you're back. Is my mom back?" Chin-Chu asked faintly. "She just came back. She's upstairs." "Okay." Chin-Chu went upstairs and pushed open the bedroom door. Lady Qin was proudly talking to her husband about something. She was surprised to see her son. "Chu, why didn't you tell me you were coming so late?" "Mom, what do you want?" Qin Chu frowned slightly and spoke in a harsh tone. I didn't do anything, what's wrong with me? Lady Qin said nonchalantly as she took off her scarf. It's a fact that I married Huamin. It's also a fact that I hate her. What's wrong with that? Just because you like her, does that mean the whole world likes her? Lady Qin suddenly raised her voice and yelled. Qin Chu looked at his mother with a slightly disappointed expression after hearing what she said. Chapter 654. Mom. I thought you were just angry at me for hiding the truth from you. No matter how bad Huamin is, she's still part of our family. I can't believe you teamed up with an outsider to expose our dirty laundry. It's fine if you don't care about our reputation, but you also don't care about the company's reputation. That's quite a ruthless move. I didn't want to disregard the company's reputation. If you were thinking about the company, you shouldn't have married Huamin. Don't lecture me. Although I don't know anything about managing a company, I still understand the principles. Lady Qin couldn't stand her son defending Huamin. Therefore, she was also angry. Every time her son said something, she would refute it. Fine, if you say that, then I have nothing else to say. Before you think things through, I don't think we'll be coming back to this house. After Qin Chu spoke, he turned around and left. Hey, stop right there. No matter how much Lady Qin yelled, Qin Chu refused to stop. Young master. I made some sweet soup, the maid said weakly as she stood guard by the stairs. I'm not eating. After saying this, Qin Chu coldly left the house. He basically said that he wouldn't come back until he forgave them. Say something, are you mute? Look at your spoiled son. Lady Qin vented her anger on her husband. Qin Yumin was reading a history book. He was wearing reading glasses and seemed a lot calmer. I'm not the only one who spoiled my son. Plus, I don't think he did anything wrong. He managed the company very well and handled the accident in T-City very well. I'm very satisfied. What's the point of that? A successful career doesn't mean everything. Look at what kind of woman your good son chose, huh? Open your eyes wide and take a good look. Lady Qin roared. Qin Yumin took off his reading glasses and looked at his wife. What's wrong with Huamin? Other than the fact that she didn't come from a good family and didn't go to a good university, what's wrong with her? She's not good at all. She doesn't look good and she has a bad temper. You don't know how rude she is to me. You respect me, and I'll respect you. You treated her like that, and she's treating you nicely. Do you think she's a fool? Qin Yumin retorted. All right. You're all against me, aren't you? I really can't live anymore. Sister Lan, Lady Qin shouted. Madam. Clean up the guest room, I'm going to sleep in the guest room. Lady Qin walked out as she spoke. This. The maid looked at Qin Yumin awkwardly. Let her be. Qin Yumin was used to his wife throwing tantrums. He had tolerated her bad temper all these years, but now that she was older, she was getting more and more out of hand. Not only did he meddle in the affairs of the younger generation, he even slapped his own son's face. He was getting more and more overboard. Lady Qin's revelations did add a lot of dirt on Huamin. Zhu Lingling and Jixin both sent Huamin a WeChat message and asked about it. However, Huamin was very calm and said that it was nothing. The next morning, Huamin went to work as usual. The employees at Southside seemed to be used to this, and they all knew Huamin's personality. Only a few gossipy people would talk about it in private. No one else would talk about this matter anymore. At noon, things took a turn for the worse. The reason was that Hua Zhenghai personally confirmed Huamin's identity. He even said that he and Huamin's mother were in love and that she wasn't a mistress. He also said that they broke up peacefully because of differences in their personalities, and that Huamin had always been the daughter of the Hua family. As for Lady Qin's disagreement, Hua Zhenghai replied, "We don't ask about young people's views on love. As long as my daughter likes it, that's her freedom. Everyone thinks that their children are good for themselves. Lady Qin thinks that my daughter isn't good enough for Qin Chu, but I also think that Qin Chu isn't good enough for my daughter." These words were like a slap to Lady Qin's face. As soon as the words came out, they were reposted by all the major media outlets. Chapter 655. Who would have thought that Hua Zhenghai, as a father, would speak up for Huamin one day? However, Huamin wasn't happy at all. She knew that Hua Zhenghai would never do anything that would make him lose money. He must have a motive for helping her. As expected, her mother called at noon and told her to go home for lunch. Huamin looked at the time. If she drove fast, she should be able to make it back in time for her 2-hour lunch break. So, she drove back to the old house. Her mother had prepared a table full of food, and Hua Zhenghai was there as well. The truth was, young Meirong didn't like Hua Zhenghai, but because he spoke up for her daughter today, she treated him nicely, which was rare of her. "Mian, you're back." Hua Zhenghai stood up and smiled. Huamin nodded. "Here, eat before it gets cold." Young Meirong scooped a bowl of rice for Huamin. "Don't suffer alone in the future, tell me. The Hua family is a respectable family. We won't let Lady Qin humiliate us like that," Hua Zhenghai said hypocritically. While her mother was scooping soup, Huamin quietly asked, "What do you want now?" "I want to help you." "So what do you want me to say for you?" "Just say it, I don't like to beat around the bush," Huamin said coldly. "Ahem." Hua Zhenghai coughed awkwardly. Huamin was indeed meticulous. He could always see through his motives. "Here's the thing, your sister, Yan Yan, she's not my sister," Huamin corrected him. Okay. Anyway, Yan Yan was rude to you last time, it was wrong of her. I taught her a lesson, so she really knows what she did was wrong. You're a bit older than her, so you should be more tolerant. After all, we're family, Hua Zhenghai said earnestly. "Mr. Hua, please get to the point," Huamin said as he ate with his head down. "I heard from Xichen that you and Su Yu are friends, so I was wondering if you could introduce Yan Yan to Su Yu." "Ha! You're really daring, aren't you?" Huamin raised his head and sneered. The Su Yu family is a century-old aristocratic family. Anyone would want to marry into such a family. Although Yan Yan is absurd, she has a pure personality. If she can gain Su Yu's favor, she can help you in the future, right? You want me to introduce that idiot Hui Yan Yan to Su Yu? Huamin asked again. Before Hua Zhenghai could say anything, Huamin continued, "Aren't you afraid that she'll die a horrible death? Su Yu will skin her alive in less than 3 days. It's not that serious, is it?" Hua Zhenghai was a bit embarrassed. He felt like Huamin was just trying to scare him. "You didn't even do your homework before coming to me. You're really something. First of all, Su Yu and I aren't friends. My words won't work because he won't listen to me. Second of all, Su Yu doesn't like idiots and idiots. Hui Yan Yan fits all of those. Third of all, Su Yu doesn't like women who have messy personal lives. You probably didn't investigate carefully who your precious daughter has been hanging out with. However, just because you don't know doesn't mean that Su Yu doesn't know. So, if you ask me to do something like this and piss off Su Yu, aren't you afraid that he'll take his anger out on the whole corporation?" "Oh. Is that so?" Hua Zhenghai only cared about the interests of the company and didn't really care what his daughter was up to. However, Huamin knew, because her affairs were often exposed in the entertainment news. She often went to nightclubs, wore heavy makeup, and hugged different men. If Suyu liked someone like that, then not only was Suyu blind, but the entire Su family was blind. I'm grateful that you helped me, but I'm sorry, I can't help you with this. Hua Min directly refused. What kind of joke was this? If she introduced Hui Yanyan to Suyu, with Suyu's explosive temper, not only would he chop Hui Yanyan into pieces, but he would also chop her into pieces, right? Then, how about this, when you have time, bring Qin Chu out and have some tea with me. I'll talk to him about working together. Seeing that his plan didn't work out, Hua Zhenghai was unwilling to give up, so he proposed a second condition. Hua Min almost spat out the soup she was drinking. She really felt disgusted by Hua Zhenghai. There was probably no man in the world who was more materialistic than him. She really didn't know how her mother fell in love with someone like him. What do you think? That shouldn't be hard, right? Hua Zhenghai glanced at Hua Min and asked. Chapter 656. I'll find a time to arrange it, but let me say this first. I'm only responsible for arranging for you guys to meet. As for whether or not my husband agrees to work with you, that's your business. Of course. Hua Zhenghai was obviously satisfied. Also, don't get involved in my business without my permission, Hua Min said coldly. Just as Hua Zhenghai was about to say something, he saw Yang Meirong walk out with a bowl of soup. Drink it while it's hot. Okay. Hua Min nodded. What were you guys talking about? Yang Meirong asked. We're talking about Mion's childhood. The truth is, I'm not good enough as a father. With Mion's talent, she should have gone to a famous university. Then, she wouldn't be looked down upon by Lady Qin and the Qin family, and she wouldn't be criticized by others. Hua Zhenghai was naturally good with words. He pretended to feel guilty because he wanted to move Yang Meirong. Yang Meirong was indeed stupid. She believed Hua Zhenghai's little tricks. Hua Min sighed inwardly. He finally understood why his mother lost to Shinjiani back then. His mother's scheming couldn't even compare to Shinjiani's, but it was good. If it was his mother who married into the Hua family, she would have been bullied to death by Jiang Hong. The Hua family wasn't a place for humans. Those who could survive were all wolves, tigers, and leopards. So what if our Mion didn't go to a famous university? She was born smart, so she can still do better than others. The first hospital had so many professors and doctors from famous universities. Why did they have to invite my daughter to perform surgery on the director's niece in the middle of the night? Isn't it because they valued my daughter's skills? She's now famous at Southside Recuperation Center. I don't think there's anything wrong with her. Those who twist the truth should go to hell. God will deal with those bitches. Yang Meirong naturally sided with Hua Min. She rambled on, but Hua Zhenghai only smiled and didn't say anything. Mom. I'm fine. Don't worry and don't care about what other people say. If reporters come, just lock yourself in and don't come out. They won't dare to come in. If anyone crosses the line, call the police, or go visit Auntie Wu during the day. Hua Min knew that now that he had made his relationship public, his family would definitely be harassed. I know. I'm fine. Take care of yourself, Yang Meirong said. As he was leaving home, Hua Min suddenly remembered that his mother had mentioned Wu Xiaoxue. He had not contacted Wu Xiaoxue for a few days. He wondered if Wu Xiaoxue had finished her confinement. He planned to visit her after work. After a busy afternoon at Southside, Hua Min called Wu Xiaoxue. Then, he bought a lot of baby products and drove to Wu Xiaoxue's house. On the way there, she happened to see a reporter blocking Ni Yang's way for an interview. GK has been in a lot of trouble lately. Do you regret signing with them? No, GK is doing great, Ni Yang replied casually. What do you think about GK's a young lady coming from a poor family and having a low education? The reporter asked. I think they're a good match. So what if they don't come from a good family? Mao Zedong was a cowherd back then, and Zhu Yuanzhang was a beggar back then. Liu Bang was a street thug. You can't judge a person by their background, but by their ability, okay? I hate people like you who talk about their backgrounds. I support President Qin and a young lady to the end. I'm their fan. Ni Yang's influence was huge because he had too many fans, therefore, as soon as the interview was released, a large number of Ni Yang's fans immediately went to Huamin's Weibo to show their support. It was a one-sided pressure from public opinion, therefore, Lady Qin's words seemed insignificant at a time like this. No matter what she said, people would start calling her an evil mother-in-law. Huamin smiled. This kid was brave enough to take a stand. The other artists under GK all remained neutral, afraid of getting into trouble. Ni Yang, on the other hand, directly blew himself up. Just then, Ni Yang called. Hello. Sister Huamin, did you see my interview? His voice was as excited as a child's. Chapter 657. I did. What did I say? You did great. Huamin complimented. Ha. I wonder if I'll help you. Of course, your fans have flooded my Weibo and the haters, Huamin said as he drove with his headphones on. That's good. Oh right, when I have time in a few days, I'll go to the hospital to see you. I think I've slept a lot better, we can move on to the next plan. Emichim, don't worry, I'll always remember what happened to you. After hanging up with Ni Yang, Huamin arrived at Wu Xiaoshue's neighborhood. She parked her car at the entrance of the neighborhood and went upstairs. Huamin pressed the doorbell, and a middle-aged auntie opened the door. Hello, I'm here to see Wu Xiaoshue. Okay, come in. The auntie opened the door and let Huamin in. She's in there, the auntie said as she pointed at the master bedroom. Huamin walked straight in with his bags. Xiaoshue. Huamin, you're here. Wu Xiaoshue was breastfeeding her baby, and she was sitting on the bed with the baby in her arms. You're breastfeeding. Huamin was a little surprised because very few people breastfed nowadays, especially rich people like him. Most of them used powdered milk or hired a nanny. Emichim, breastfeeding is the best food for a baby. Wu Xiaoshue smiled. Her smile was filled with the radiance of motherly love. She had gained a lot of weight, and her face was a lot rounder. However, her complexion didn't look too good, probably because she stayed up late. This is a gift for the baby. Huamin handed over the baby's clothes, shoes, and toys that he bought. Thank you. How long until you're out of confinement? Huamin asked as he sat on the chair beside the bed and played with the baby. 5 more days. That's fast. Yes, it's so fast. My baby will be 1 month old in 5 days. Wu Xiaoshue looked at the baby girl in her arms lovingly. Huamin looked at the baby carefully and found that her skin was white and chubby, but her eyebrows were very similar to Ning Ziyuan's. She didn't seem like Wu Xiaoshue at all. Has the baby been named yet? Huamin asked. Yes, I did. My uncle named her Wu Xinyue. Xinyue. Not bad, not bad. It's a nice name. President Wu is really good at naming names. But she's really going to be surnamed Wu. Are you really going to divorce Ning Ziyuan? At the mention of this, Wu Xiaoshue's eyes changed slightly. Yes, he agreed. What about the child? Does he not want it? Even if he wants it, I won't give it to him. Besides, he doesn't plan to take it. Wu Xiaoshue smiled bitterly. It's okay. You're so outstanding. You'll meet better people in the future. That's what I thought too. After feeding her, Wu Xiaoxue handed the baby to Huamian. Hold her. If you hadn't risked your life to do the surgery on me, she would have turned into a pool of blood. You saved her life. It's not that serious. I can only say that Xinyue is lucky to be your mother. Huamin had worked in the OB/GYN department before, so she was very good at holding babies. After carefully taking Xinyue in her arms, she coaxed her. What about you? Any news? Wu Xiaoxue asked. Not yet. Maybe it's not time yet. Huamin looked up and smiled. What about you? Are you leaving after your confinement? Yes. We've already signed the divorce agreement. After I'm done with my confinement, I'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau and get it done. The plane ticket is in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I'll be leaving this place for good. Chicago is where I'll live in the future. Wu Xiaoxue's words were full of reluctance. It's okay. I can go to the States to visit you guys. You guys can come back to visit me. Huamin hugged Xinyue and said, Baby, grow up quickly. You'll be able to protect mommy. Wu Xiaoxue's eyes suddenly teared up. Huamin. I don't want to leave, but I have no choice. My heart is full of holes. Xiaoxue, don't cry. Be strong. Huamin felt bad when he saw Wu Xiaoxue cry. From the time she was pregnant to the birth of the child, she had never been at peace. Huamin, do you know who was behind my car accident? Wu Xiaoxue suddenly asked with hatred. Huh? Wasn't it an accident? Huamin was slightly surprised. Oh. Chapter 658. Of course not. He-Man is the one behind all this. He-Man. If Wu Xiaoxue hadn't mentioned her, Huamin would have almost forgotten about her existence. That evil woman doesn't like me. Maybe she thinks that Ning Ziyuan dumped her because of me, but she's just stupid. I can tell you that even without me, Ning Ziyuan still wouldn't want her. She's a piece of trash, no one would like her. Xiaoxue, you're still in confinement. Calm down and speak slowly. I've already asked someone to investigate. I had my suspicions before, so I deleted the video. You should know the person who hit me and fled. I know him. Huamin was even more surprised. Wu Xiaoxue nodded. Do you remember the pregnant woman who blackmailed you? Yeah, her husband. I don't know how that man hooked up with He-Man, but they were together for a while. During that time, they set me up while I was driving and almost killed my baby. I found that man, but he had already left He-Man. Because He-Man hooked up with Ning Ziyuan again, she dumped him. He didn't want to give up and pestered her. In the end, He-Man hired thugs to break one of his legs. Really? Huamin frowned slightly. If what Wu Xiaoxue said was true, then He-Man was really evil. Yeah, so before I go abroad, I'll definitely take revenge on her. Xiaoxue, don't be silly. You're going abroad, don't get into trouble. Huamin comforted her. Don't worry, I won't kill her. Her cheap life isn't worth dirtying my hands with. I'll just tell her that evil people get what they deserve. Huamin stayed at Wu Xiaoxue's house for a while. She didn't eat the food that the nanny made. It was Wu Xiaoxue's confinement meal, so it was relatively bland. Before she left, Wu Xiaoxue took out a rectangular box and handed it to her. What is this? I'm about to leave, so I'll give this to you. It's a set of scalpels that I really like. I bought them from Germany, and they're of great quality. I've used them to perform a C-section on a lot of pregnant women who had difficult labor. You're such a great doctor, so I hope you can use them to save more people in the future. Of course, if you're an OB/GYN doctor, and if you don't choose to continue working in the OB/GYN department, I'll give this to you as a memento. After I go to Chicago, I won't be a doctor anymore, Wu Xiaoxue said calmly. You don't want to be a doctor anymore. Huamin looked at the set of scalpels but did not reach out to take them. Emichim, I won't. She's still young. I have to work hard to raise her. I want to open a Chinese restaurant. It's more convenient for my tastes. I'm really not used to Western food. After speaking, Wu Xiaoxue took the initiative and stuffed the item into Huamin's hand. Thank you. Huamin felt that this set of scalpels was a little heavy. Huamin. Goodbye. Wu Xiaoxue seemed to be saying goodbye in advance. Send me your itinerary when you're leaving. I'll see you off. It's okay, there's a different time zone. My flight is in the morning, so I'll be with my family. Don't worry. Then remember to call me. Huamin was a little sad to see her go. I will. You too. I hope that I can live to see the day when you become a doctor. You'll definitely be a very, very good doctor. Huamin didn't say anything, and he only smiled. After leaving Wu Xiaoxue's home and heading downstairs, Huamin vaguely saw a familiar man walking towards him. Mian. Why are you here? Ning Ziyuan came back to get some things and was surprised to see Huamin downstairs. He froze. The two were about 3 meters away from each other, and they looked at each other. Chapter 659. I'm here to see Xiaoxue and the kids. Huamin looked at Ning Ziyuan coldly. If she didn't feel anything for Ning Ziyuan before, now that she saw how pitiful Wu Xiaoxue and the kids were, she began to hate him. She had already started to hate this man. He was no longer the handsome young man she had met in university. All she saw now was a disgusting scumbag. You're here to see Wu Xiaoxue? You're close to her, aren't you? Ning Ziyuan didn't seem to know that Wu Xiaoxue and Huamin had already reconciled. That's between me and her, I don't need to tell you. Then, Huamin walked towards his car. Mian, what's up? Huamin stopped walking and didn't even look back. She didn't want to see him, not at all. How are you doing now? Aren't you able to see me on TV and in the newspapers? Huamin chuckled. I think Qin Chu doesn't treat you well. He went public with everything and pushed you to the center of attention. I think he's trying to clear his name by showing off his relationship with you. You've been used, do you know that? Upon hearing these words, Huamin turned around and looked at Ning Ziyuan with a complicated expression. Really? I've really been used. Yeah, you're so smart, didn't you notice? Ning Ziyuan said earnestly. Thank you for reminding me. Now I know that I've been used, but, so what? He's my husband, I'm willing to be used. Huamin said on purpose. Are you willing to do anything just because of money? Even if you're bullied by that evil mother-in-law, you're willing to endure it. After all these years, you still don't know me at all. Let me tell you, I've drunk the strongest alcohol and given up on the person I love the most. I can be as stubborn as a madman, but I can also work like a man. I can also be a good wife and mother at home, a good wife and a good mother. Everything depends on who you are. So don't ever try to look at me from your point of view, because I'm afraid you'll never understand. With that, Huamin walked away without looking back. She had nothing to say to Ning Ziyuan. He wasn't even a familiar stranger. Based on what he had done to Wu Xiaoxue and her daughter, he was not worthy of forgiveness. It didn't matter if he was fired by President Wu or chased out of the Wu family's mansion. Everything was his own doing. Ning Ziyuan looked at Huamin's back and stood there for a long time in a daze. He suddenly realized that the best time of his life was when he was chasing Huamin in university. But those days were gone forever. Sometimes, he even thought that if he had trusted Huamin and stood by her side, he would not have done those things that hurt her. In that case, would she not leave him? Not going back to Qin Chu's side. But there were no ifs in life, there were only consequences and results. Everything that happened today was his own fault. Once upon a time, Huamin was willing to trust him and let him be by her side. But he didn't cherish her, so who could he blame now? By the time Huamin got home, Qin Chu had already made dinner. Sometimes, when he thought about it, although Mr. Qin didn't talk much, he was still a caring man. He was so busy, but when he got home, he immediately took off his role as the boss and played the role of a husband. He made delicious food for Huamin. Wow, it smells so good. Honey, did you make seafood? Huamin asked as soon as he got home. You have a good nose. Qin Chu smiled. He brought out dinner. It was steamed crab, mantis shrimp, spicy stir-fried sea cucumber, and tinfoil roasted clams. These were all Huamin's favorite seafood. Ever since he found out that Qin Chu couldn't eat seafood, Huamin had been very restrained. He almost forgot how long it had been since he last ate seafood. But Mr. Qin remembered it clearly. One who is unaccountably solicitous must be hiding evil intentions. Honey, you're so nice to me, do you have a favor to ask of me? Of course I do, Qin Chu said matter-of-factly. Then what do you want from me, Mr. Qin? Huamin walked over and hugged Qin Chu's waist from behind. Then, he began to act coquettishly. I want you to be on top tonight. I've been really tired lately, so please take the initiative. Pfft. Huamin almost choked. Mr. Qin was talking dirty again. Was there anyone who could control him? Chapter 660. What? Can't you satisfy your husband's one request? Qin Chu looked like he was wronged. Mr. Qin, you're bullying me. Huamin yelled. She was inexperienced to begin with, but Qin Chu wanted her to take the initiative, a man on top and a woman on the bottom. Oh my, so dirty, I'll stop teasing you, let's eat. Qin Chu lovingly let go of Huamin's hand. Then, he ate seafood with her. Qin Chu's stomach was sensitive, so she only had a little bit of lobster congee. Oh right, honey, I want to talk to you about something. Okay. Didn't Hui Zhenghai speak up for me today? He asked me to do something. What is it? Qin Chu looked up at Huamin. He wants to have tea with you and talk about the cooperation between the Hua Corporation and GK. Huamin skipped over Suyu. After all, she didn't want to mention Suyu in front of Qin Chu, because she didn't want to make her husband feel bad, even though there was nothing going on between her and Suyu. He sure knows how to scheme. Yeah, he went to the old house today and bewitched my mom, playing the role of a good father. But I promised him that you guys would meet. It's up to you to decide if it works out or not. I'm only responsible for you guys meeting. You won't be mad at me, right? Why would I be? Qin Chu smiled. Really? Do you plan on meeting him? I'll go. My wife agreed on my behalf, so I have to give you face. Qin Chu spoiled Huamin 100 times. He never blamed her for acting on her own. Honey, you're the best. I'm the best, so are you going to do something for me later? Here we go again. Huamin was truly speechless. Ever since Mr. Qin came back, he seemed to be asking for her a lot. Honey, I read in a magazine that couples should only do it 2 or 3 times a week. It's not good for the body if it's too much. Huamian said with a straight face. But I read in a magazine that newlyweds who have been married for less than a year can do it once a day, or even multiple times a day. Really? Huamin was confused again. Mr. Qin sure knows how to pick up girls, yes. That's why we haven't been together for more than a year. We're still newlyweds, so it's normal for us to ask for more. Why? Honey, don't tell me you dislike me. Mr. Qin's innocent expression melted Huamin's heart. I didn't. Hubby, why would I dislike you? Then you'll be on top and I'll be on the bottom tonight. Mr. Qin dug a hole. Then, our little fox with an IQ of 130 also foolishly jumped down. Sure enough, in front of the person he loved the most, all his IQ was useless. Unable to resist Mr. Qin's seduction, Huamin finally covered his face and took the lead. The result was surprisingly good, because she realized that this position was actually quite comfortable. It seemed like she still didn't know enough. Qin Chu looked at his wife, who was sighing in amazement, and chuckled. It seemed like he would have to take this position more often in the future. He wanted to try every one of the 108 positions recommended in the textbook. It would definitely feel amazing. After Mr. Qin's torment, Huamin was exhausted and wanted to go to bed. Just as he was about to sleep, he received a call from Jiang Xiaowei. Huamin, come and keep me company. I'm at Seductive Fox's top floor private room C. After speaking, Jiang Xiaowei hung up. Huamin immediately woke up. Ever since he became friends with Jiang Xiaowei, his heart had been pounding. She was always like this, appearing and disappearing like a ghost. Honey, are you going out? Qin Chu asked curiously when he saw Huamin sleepily get up and get dressed. Chapter 661. Emichim, I'm going to see a friend, Huamin said as she put on her clothes. Qin Chu looked down at his watch. It's too late, it's not safe. I'll drive you. Emichim, okay. Huamin knew that Qin Chu was worried about her, so she didn't reject him. The two went downstairs together. Qin Chu drove the Maybach to Seductive Fox. I'll wait for you guys in the car, don't get drunk, Qin Chu reminded her worriedly. I know, Mr. Qin, I'll be a good girl. Wait for me here. Huamin was grateful that Qin Chu was so considerate. After all, Jiang Xiaowei was a female friend of his. She wasn't close with Qin Chu, unlike Zhu Lingling, who had known them since high school. So, Qin Chu's best option was to wait in the car for them to have fun before taking his wife home. Although Seductive Fox was a place with all sorts of people, Qin Chu wasn't worried because it was Rick's place, so he didn't follow them. Huamin was in a hurry, so she didn't bother to dress up. She wore a long black hoodie and a pair of black leggings, but in reality, it was late autumn, so this kind of outfit wasn't enough to keep out the cold. After she got out of the car, a gust of cold wind hit her in the face. Huamin shivered from the cold. Then, she jogged into Seductive Fox and headed straight for the private room on the top floor. Ha! Which room is it? Room A, B, C, or D? Huamin was in a daze when she answered Jiang Xiaowei's call, so she didn't pay much attention to it and forgot about it. She looked around the luxurious rooms in a daze. She picked up her phone and was about to call Jiang Xiaowei when the door to room B suddenly opened. Tang Chuan, a big-breasted girl, walked out unsteadily. When she saw Huamin, she immediately perked up. Head nurse. Ah, why are you here? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? I'm here to look for a friend, Huamin replied calmly. Ha! Could it be our Lord Su? He's inside. Hurry up. Tang Chuan was the kind of person who liked to kick up a fuss. Therefore, when he saw Huamin at the door of the private room, he couldn't wait to push her in front of Su Yu. No. I'm here to see a girlfriend of mine, Huamin explained. At this time, Jiang Xiaowei called, have you arrived yet? We're here. What's your room number? Huamin quickly asked. C. Okay, 3 seconds. After speaking, Huamin turned around, walked a few steps, and opened the door to room C. She even forgot to talk to Tang Chuan, young Master Tang. Why don't we go to the washroom? It's dark there, the hot girl boldly invited. Wait, sweetheart, let me give Lord Su a message first. After speaking, Tang Chuan left his date behind and went back into room B. When Huamin walked in, he was immediately dumbfounded. Jiang Xiaowei was the only one in the spacious private room. She was wearing a black miniskirt and a red shawl with tassels. She looked beautiful and sexy, but what was with the countless beer bottles in front of the table? Huamin estimated that there were about 17 or 18 empty bottles. You're here? Sit. Jiang Xiaowei smiled, revealing two of her signature canine teeth. Come to think of it, even a cold goddess like her would only be in a good mood when she saw Huamin. Did you drink all of this? Huamin asked suspiciously. Is there a second person in the room? Jiang Xiaowei laughed. You are amazing. I worship you. Huamin always thought that she was one of the girls with a decent alcohol tolerance, but Jiang Xiaowei instantly crushed her. This was too scary. What's wrong? Did your blind date fail again? Huamin noticed that she was a little depressed, so he asked. Chapter 662. My blind date failed, so I should celebrate like every other time, so you succeeded this time. Huamin looked at her in surprise. It's not really a success, but my parents really like that guy. I just don't feel good about it, Jiang Xiaowei said as she poured 2 glasses of wine. She handed one to Huamian and downed the other in one gulp. Ahem. I'll secretly drink with you one day. My husband is downstairs, and if he finds out that I'm drinking, he'll kill me. Huamin really didn't dare to secretly drink anymore because the last time he drank, he was sent to the police station and interrogated by Qin Chu until he wished he was dead. Mr. Qin was scary when he was angry. Although he spoiled her, he would never tolerate her bad habits. Okay, then I'll drink by myself. Jiang Xiaowei poured herself another glass and downed it in one gulp. She didn't even blink and drank as if she was drinking cold water. It was Huamin's first time seeing such a strong woman. You don't like him? Huamin asked tentatively. How should I put it? He's a perfect candidate for marriage. He's 30 years old, works in the environmental protection industry, is a young CEO, returned from overseas, and is a genius in finance. He's handsome and has a good conversation style. His family background is clean, and he doesn't have a romantic history. Wow, you don't like him? Huamin couldn't help but sigh after hearing Jiang Xiaowei say so much. Good men were almost extinct nowadays, and Huamin thought she was extremely lucky to meet such a perfect guy on a blind date. Yeah, he looks great at first glance, and I think he's a perfect candidate for marriage, but I feel like something's missing. What do you feel? Something like that. He's a typical Scorpio, and he's terrifyingly rational. He knows what he wants, and I know that he doesn't love me. He just wants me to be his wife because I'm suitable for marriage. To outsiders, we're a perfect couple, but it's just a label we use to make each other work. You can't think of it that way. What if they fall in love after marriage? It's not like there's no one around who's been in love before. Jiang Xiaowei smiled bitterly. But I don't want to take the risk. What if I still don't like him after we get married? Am I supposed to get a divorce? What's the situation now? Huamin asked. The two families intend to get engaged in a week's time. So fast. Huamin was also surprised. Yeah. You know what? Actually, I felt that I was quite conflicted. On one hand, I felt that I had reached the age where I should just find a suitable man and get married. After all, I wasn't a little girl anymore. What kind of love could I desire? But on the other hand, I really can't accept it. I always hope that one day when I get married, it's because of love, not because of suitability. After all, the kind of man you choose will decide the quality of your life in the future. You're right. What are you going to do? Huamin looked at Jiang Shaowei sympathetically. She was such an outstanding woman, yet she was in so much pain because she couldn't make a decision about her marriage. At this moment, she was really glad that she married Qin Chu. If she had agreed to marry Wei Dong in order to save her brother, or if she had continued to pretend to be mediocre and married Ning Ziyuan, perhaps she wouldn't be as happy as she was now. After all, marrying a man she didn't love was a sad thing. I don't know what to do either. Help me come up with an idea. Jiang Shaowei poured another glass of wine. This time, before she could drink it, Huamin took it away from her. It's useless to drink too much. Once you sober up, you'll still have to face it. Then what am I going to do? Huamin. Am I really going to marry that man? I can't accept it. Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin with tears in her eyes. Before Huamin could say anything, the door to the private room was suddenly pushed open. Why didn't you say anything to me when you came? Is there a girl more heartless than you in the world? Suyu walked in with a dark expression. Chapter 663. Why are you here? Huamin was quite surprised that Suyu suddenly ran over. That bitch Tang Chuan ran over to Lord Su to ask for credit. When Suyu heard that Huamin was here, he immediately felt better. He couldn't even sit still and immediately wanted to come over. In the end, it was Wei Liao who told him to be more reserved. He forced him to drink 3 glasses of wine before letting him go. Hey, isn't this pretty girl, from that day at the hospital? Wei Liao's memory was quite good. Although that day, Jiang Shaowei's side profile was a killer, but Wei Liao still recognized her. That stud Tang Chuan was hiding in a corner and having with a hot girl. Otherwise, if he was there, he could help identify her. Do you guys know each other? Huamin looked at Wei Liao strangely. Wei Liao immediately shook his head. No, I don't. You know Suyu. Jiang Shaowei obviously wasn't drunk, so she looked at Huamin and asked. I used to take care of him when he was hospitalized at Southside, Huamin briefly explained. Suyu felt like the chances of him bringing Huamin to his private room weren't high. So, he simply sat down on the sofa next to Huamin. What are you doing? Huamin looked at him in confusion. You definitely can't go over to my room, so I think I should sit down and keep you company. This isn't my private room, it's my friend's. Huamin wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Suyu had been quiet for a long time, but now, he was going to start messing around again. Waiter, put all the expenses in this private room on my tab. Okay, young Master Su. The waiter immediately ran over and added a lot of snacks and drinks. Rich people are so willful. Jiang Shaowei glanced at Suyu and said. He's no longer a simple nouveau riche. With how much money he spends, we've already called him a god-level nouveau riche. Wei Liao smiled. Then, Suyu and Wei Liao shamelessly refused to leave the room without the owner's permission. Inside the CEO's office on the top floor of Seductive Fox, Rick looked at the surveillance camera and pondered for a while. Then, he called Qin Chu. Although he was not a tattletale, he knew that Qin Chu cared a lot about Huamin. Hello. Qin Chu answered the phone. Your wife came to my place again. Please note that Rick used the word again. I know. I came with her. Where are you? Rick was confused. I'm in the car downstairs. She went up to keep a friend company. It's not convenient for me, Qin Chu explained. Then let me tell you something. Calm down after you hear it. What is it? Your wife's friend is in room C, and Su Yu and the others are in room B, so. Chin Chu continued to ask. So, 3 minutes ago, Su Yu and the others went to room C. Are you sure you don't want to come up and take a look? Chin Chu was silent for 5 seconds. I'm not going up. I trust her. Chin Chu said calmly. He knew what kind of person Huamin was. He didn't want to restrict her too much. They needed to respect each other and have their own privacy. Even though they were husband and wife, they couldn't pressure each other to the point that they couldn't breathe. If Chin Chu checked Huamin's Weibo and WeChat every day, after a while, even if there weren't any conflicts, there would be conflicts, so, even though he heard from Rick that Siyu went to look for Huamin in room C, he wasn't worried at all. You're such a boss. Rick was speechless. If it's mine, no one can take it away. If it's not mine, I won't be able to keep it even if I force it, Chin Chu said slowly. Fine, I don't understand what you Chinese people are thinking. Anyways, I told you. You're on your own now. Rick hung up the phone. Chin Chu continued to analyze the data on his laptop as usual. He wasn't worried about what was going on upstairs at all. This was not at all like the steadiness and maturity of a 27-year-old young man. Of course, the reason he wasn't worried wasn't because he didn't love Huamin. It was because he loved her so much that he didn't want to hurt her pride. What are you doing here in the middle of the night instead of sleeping at home? Why are you wearing pajamas? Su Yu looked at Huamin with disdain. He looked at her from head to toe, and came to the conclusion that Huamin came out in pajamas. Chapter 664. Huamin immediately rolled his eyes at him. Is this what your pajamas look like? Is this a sweater? Do you understand? No. If you don't understand, then go away. I don't want to waste my time talking to you. Insulting Su Yu was one of Huamin's signature moves. Back at Southside, this was how he dealt with Huamian. Wei Liao, on the other hand, sat in front of Jiang Shaowei and began flirting with her. Pretty girl, did you drink all of this by yourself? Yeah. Jiang Shaowei's mood suddenly improved. Perhaps it was because there were more people in the room, so she felt less lonely. You're a good drinker. Wei Liao complimented. I'm okay. Ha, that day at Southside, I saw you, right? Were you driving a white Lexus? Wei Liao asked. Yeah. Jiang Shaowei nodded. Wei Liao was ecstatic, to think that he would meet such a beautiful woman with a side profile again. It must be fate. Are you Huamin's friend? Wei Liao continued to ask. What does that have to do with you? Don't you think you're asking too much? Either sit down and drink, or get out of here. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you guys. Jiang Shaowei unleashed her tomboy skills. She was even more pretentious than Huamin. Wei Liao was speechless. Huamin was so happy that he couldn't stop laughing. Jiang Shaowei was such a rare girl. She was so real, she could swear at any time. It didn't match her status as a famous psychologist who returned from overseas. Su Yu's gaze softened as he watched Huamin laugh. He didn't have many opportunities to interact with Huamin, so he rarely saw her laugh so brightly. He suddenly felt that this was the best laughter he had ever heard in the world. Huamin only cared about laughing at Jiang Shaowei and Wei Liao. She didn't care that Su Yu was looking at her affectionately. It's not that I can't drink, but I'm afraid that I'll drink too much. After all, this is the first time we've met. It's not good. Being publicly challenged by Jiang Shaowei, Wei Liao said modestly, don't worry. If you make me drunk today, I'll go with you. You can do whatever you want. Huamin spat out a mouthful of blood. Su Yu was also speechless. Although Wei Liao was also a playboy, he was all talk and no action. The Wei Liao family had been in the steel construction industry for many years and was also a large family. Wei Liao had an older brother and an older sister. Thus, due to the reputation of the clan, they would not act recklessly. Now that Jiang Xiaowei took the initiative, he was helpless. He rubbed his nose and said, "I don't think that's a good idea." "I didn't mean that. Are you going to drink or not? You're so annoying." Jiang Xiaowei lost her patience. "Let's drink. Since you're a woman, how about you drink 1 glass and I drink 2 glasses? What do you think?" "Sure." Jiang Xiaowei nodded without hesitation. Wei Liao looked at the beer and wine on the table and said, "Take these away and change them to white wine. Waiter, give me a few bottles of Mao Tai." "Okay, young Master Wei. You guys aren't serious, are you?" Huamin was a little worried. Wei Liao's alcohol tolerance is terrifying. "Your friend is definitely going to lose today," Su Yu said proudly with his arms crossed. "I don't think so. Xiaowei's a weirdo too." Huamin didn't seem to think that Jiang Xiaowei would definitely lose. After Wei Liao poured 2 glasses of white wine, he covered the rim of the glass with one hand and said, "Babe, let's make this clear first. If you're really drunk and have to leave with me, you can have fun, but don't make me take responsibility." "Okay," Jiang Xiaowei said without hesitation. "What if you lose?" Jiang Xiaowei looked at Wei Liao teasingly. "If I lose, you can do whatever you want with me. Of course, I can leave with you and spend the night with you. You don't have to pay anything." Wei Liao said with a smile, "In your dreams." Jiang Xiaowei glared at him. Wei Liao wasn't very handsome, but he was the type that was pleasing to the eye. His eyes weren't big and he liked to smile. He was sharp-tongued and quick-witted. He hung out with Su Yu all the time. He was a natural optimist. "If you lose, you'll have to walk around Seductive Fox in your underwear." Jiang Xiaowei said slowly, "Ha, that's a deal." Su Yu laughed maniacally. "Lord Su, you're on my side, okay? You can't choose the wrong side because of Huamin's beauty trap." Wei Liao was speechless. Chapter 665. "Let's not waste time, okay? Can you do it or not?" Jiang Xiaowei glared at Wei Liao. "No problem, I don't care. It's not like I'm going to lose." Wei Liao felt like he had been on the battlefield for a long time. He had been drinking Su Yu since he was 12 or 13 years old, so he was immune to all kinds of drugs. 2 pounds of baijiu was nothing to him. 2 pounds of baijiu meant 6 or 7 glasses. Jiang Xiaowei, on the other hand, probably wouldn't be able to hold on much longer because she had drunk so much. Although he really didn't have any improper thoughts about Jiang Xiaowei, he still wanted to break her spirit. Since Jiang Xiaowei was a girl and she had drunk so much before, Wei Liao announced that he would drink 2 glasses for every glass she drank. Jiang Xiaowei was very straightforward. She picked up a glass of baijiu and downed it first. Then, she shook the empty glass as if she was provoking him. Wei Liao was also very straightforward. He didn't say anything and downed 2 glasses in a row. Su Yu took out a cigarette, put it in his mouth, and applauded Wei Liao. Then, he picked up the lighter on the table and lit it up. Perhaps it was because he was too close to Huamin, so the fragrance of the cigarette drifted over. Huamin suddenly felt uncomfortable in his throat and began to cough. After coughing for the 3rd time, Su Yu quietly pulled the cigarette out of his mouth, threw it on the ground, and stepped on it twice. Wei Liao looked at Su Yu's careful expression and half-smiled. Then, Jiang Xiaowei picked up another glass of baijiu and downed another glass. Wei Liao then downed another 2 glasses. The battle became more and more intense. Min was a little worried about Jiang Shaowei's body. He grabbed her wrist and whispered, "Even if you lose, you can't drink anymore. They're my friends, they won't really give you a hard time." "I'm fine, don't worry." Jiang Shaowei gave Min a confident look. Then, she picked up the third glass of baijiu and downed it again. Wei Liao was a little uncomfortable. Most people wouldn't be able to handle drinking one glass at a time. What's more, he drank twice as much as Jiang Shaowei did. So, he hesitated for a moment and downed another 2 glasses. Until now, Jiang Shaowei had downed 3 glasses in a row, while Wei Liao had 6 glasses. 6 glasses wasn't a lot, but it was still very powerful if he drank them consecutively. The alcohol rushed to Wei Liao's brain, and he suddenly felt a little dizzy. He thought that 3 glasses SSS was enough to knock his it. Who knew? 2. S2, drink go. Wei Liao swallowed, and a strong smell of alcohol wafted from his throat. However, he forced himself to drink 2 more glasses in a row. To be honest, by the time he drank the second glass, he was already about to throw up. But men were prideful, so he held it in. So you could see that Wei Liao had reached his limit, but looking at Jiang Shaowei, it was obvious that she couldn't do it either. His face was flushed red and reeked of alcohol. Even so, Jiang Shaowei was still unconvinced. She slowly picked up the 5th cup, and slowly drank it under everyone's gaze. Min couldn't even bear to watch. After Wei Liao saw her drink the 5th cup, he immediately stood up. "Beauty, I'm convinced. Tell me, should I run downstairs or upstairs first?" It was obvious that Wei Liao had admitted defeat, because if he drank more, not only would he vomit, but he might also be hospitalized for alcohol poisoning. He would rather run naked than risk his life. Jiang Shaowei smiled proudly. "Whatever, as long as you're wearing underwear, oh." Chapter 666. Wei Liao turned around and walked out. He couldn't take off his clothes in front of the 2 women, right? Although this request was ridiculous, he was a man and had to do what he said. Su Yu was still worried, so he followed him out. Jiang Shaowei covered her mouth, rushed to the bathroom, and vomited like crazy. "Are you okay? You're amazing, I've never seen anyone drink as much as you do. You're the god of alcohol," Min exclaimed as he patted Jiang Shaowei's back. "Actually, I cheated. I drank sobering medicine before I drank." Jiang Shaowei smiled mysteriously. No wonder. Min finally understood. It seemed like Wei Liao was smart, but he still couldn't avoid being played. After Jiang Shaowei finished vomiting, she felt much better. Min supported her and the 2 of them walked out. Wei Liao was a man of his word. He ran downstairs in a pair of white boxers. The waiters and customers all looked at him strangely. Luckily, Su Yu was with him. No one dared to say anything because they didn't want to offend the crown prince. Su Yu was speechless. He took out his phone and said, "When you get married, play this VCR on the day of your wedding. It'll be amazing." "Fuck off." Wei Liao cursed. Tang Chuan came back from the corner with a hot girl and was speechless when he saw this scene. "I was only out for half an hour. What happened here?" Tang Chuan was dumbfounded. "Your young master Wei made a bet with a beauty to drink. If he lost, he would run around in his underwear. In the end, he bragged too much and lost, so this is what happened." Su Yu summarized everything in a few words. This is too funny. Where are the beauties? I have to thank him for standing up for us." Tang Chuan looked up and laughed. Ever since they were young, none of them could outdrink Wei Liao when it came to drinking. Even Su Yu was no match for him. Today, he actually fell into the hands of a woman. It was really God's will. What about over there? Suyu asked in the direction of Huamin and Jiang Shaowei. Tang Chuan looked at it and was a little puzzled. Why does he look so familiar? Oh. I remember now. That killer profile. So she's Huamin's friend. No wonder she's at Southside. Tang Chuan was even more excited. What do you mean by side profile? Suyu was confused. After that, Tang Chuan rambled on about what happened that day. Suyu smiled. You two are really talented. Who told you to show off? Now you've met your match. Can you two be quiet? Will you die if you don't talk? Wei Liao scolded with a dark expression as he jogged. Huamin supported Jiang Shaowei and watched from the side. Jiang Shaowei was originally very depressed, but she was suddenly in a good mood after being teased by Wei Liao. She suddenly sighed and said, Huamin, did you know? Ever since I came back to China, all my aunts and uncles came to my house to persuade me. They said that it's hard to find a woman when you're old. They said that it's fine if you're not too picky and that you should just get married. When they blabber on and on, I usually say that if I get married, it's either money or the man. I don't dare to ask for both. After all, you can't have your cake and eat it too. But if the man isn't good enough and doesn't have money, then I'm sorry. Am I marrying him to have children and play house with him? I'm not a living lay fong. Whoever lacks a dick can go ahead and get married. I wish them a happy life. Haha, that's a great answer. Huamin couldn't help but laugh. Yeah, at the time, I thought that I would be able to persevere, but in the end, I couldn't avoid it. Maybe in a week, I'll really get engaged, Jiang Shaowei said dejectedly. Shaowei, have you never been deeply in love with anyone before? Huamin asked curiously. In kindergarten, the class president and I used to eat lollipops together. You took a bite, and I took a bite. Does that count as love? After Jiang Shaowei finished speaking, she and Huamin looked at each other and smiled, as if they understood each other. I envy you. You have Qin Chu, your childhood sweetheart. You can still be willful by his side when you're older, but not everyone is as lucky as you. In this world, there are still so many people who don't get what they want. I believe that those who persevere will eventually find happiness, as long as you don't give up, Huamin said seriously. Just then, Wei Liao ran over with sweat all over his forehead. He looked at Jiang Shaowei and said, Beauty, I've done what I promised you. Give me your WeChat. Chapter 667. You want my WeChat? Sure, no problem. Jiang Shaowei smiled, revealing her signature canine teeth. Wei Liao finally felt a little comforted. Tonight, he didn't do anything for nothing, but you have to drink 2 more glasses of wine, Jiang Shaowei said. Wei Liao immediately rushed to the bathroom behind him and threw up. Whenever he heard the word wine, he would have a mental breakdown. Everyone around him laughed hysterically. Jiang Shaowei then pulled Huamin, let's go home and sleep. Huamin silently followed behind her. Wait. Suyu chased after them. What? Huamin turned around. You're leaving just like that? You're not even going to say goodbye to me? Suyu asked pretentiously. Goodbye. After speaking, Huamin continued to follow behind Jiang Shaowei. Suyu watched them leave with a sorrowful look in his eyes, as sorrowful as he could be. You're actually quite a coward sometimes. Isn't it just hitting on girls? You should be more straightforward. Look at me, when I was having with that girl, I directly told her that I wanted to fuck her. Let's go to the bathroom. Then, she obediently followed me. Tang Chuan tried to persuade Suyu. Then, he saw Suyu's murderous gaze. Do you think I'm like you, a teddy bear who wants to fuck everything he sees? After speaking, Siyu looked at Tang Chuan with disdain and walked away. This sentence made Tang Chuan completely speechless. However, when he thought about it, Lord Su's words actually made sense. His teddy bears were usually very clingy. Indeed, they wanted to fuck everything they saw. Damn, that was so dirty. Now that Lord Su had exposed such a dirty joke, how could they happily raise teddy bears in the future? Wei Liao returned to the private room to find his clothes and put them on. Then, he calmly walked out of Seductive Fox with Su Yu and the others. Fortunately, he didn't care about how others looked at him. If anyone spreads word about what happened today, they will be killed without mercy. Su Yu was righteous enough to issue a kill order. Neither the waiters nor the guests dared to say a word. They all knew that this was just a prank from the upper class. If you took it seriously, you would lose. When Huamin helped Jiang Xiaowei down, she suddenly stopped. Xiaowei, my old car is over there. Let's send you home first. It's safer this way. No, I can drive myself. No, drunk driving is very dangerous. Huamin's expression changed immediately. He firmly disagreed with Jiang Xiaowei's decision to drive. Then I'll call my chauffeur to pick me up. Jiang Xiaowei smiled helplessly. Sure, I'll wait here for your chauffeur. I'll leave after he gets here. Then I'll take a taxi. Jiang Xiaowei couldn't bear to see Huamin wait for her. Therefore, she decided to take a taxi. Huamin saw how determined she was, so he didn't insist. After the two said goodbye, Huamin got into the passenger seat of the Maybach. Honey, follow the taxi in front, I have to make sure she gets home safely. Huamin pointed to the front. Qin Chu nodded, put down his laptop and started the car. Jiang Xiaowei was the type of girl who had a sweet appearance, so people often hit on her. After she got into the car, she sat in the back. The chauffeur was a middle-aged man who was slightly chubby and had small eyes. He stole a few glances in the rearview mirror and immediately became restless when he saw that it was a pretty girl. Pretty girl, how old are you? 38, Jiang Xiaowei calmly replied. That's impossible, you look like you're 17 or 18, ah. The chauffeur flattered her. Yeah, I was 18 when I died. Now that 20 years have passed, I'm 38 this year. Then, I'll go to every intersection and get some money to spend. The chauffeur's face immediately turned pale when he heard this. He thought that he had seen a ghost. Jiang Xiaowei laughed out loud, and her laughter became more and more creepy. The chauffeur was sweating profusely. He stepped on the gas and stopped the car. Then, he opened the door and ran away, scared out of his wits. Jiang Xiaowei sneered, how dare he hit on a girl with that little guts of his? Why didn't he scare an idiot like you to death? Then, Jiang Xiaowei got out of the car. What's going on? Honey, stop the car. Huamin saw the taxi stop and Jiang Xiaowei get out of the car. He thought that something happened to her. He immediately got out of the car to check on her. I bumped into an idiot chauffeur. I scared him away, so I can only take your car. Come on in. Huamin pulled Jiang Xiaowei into his Maybach. As soon as they got in, Huamin immediately introduced them. I'm Qin Chu, honey, this is my friend Jiang Xiaowei. Chapter 668. Nice to meet you, President Qin. Nice to meet you. Qin Chu nodded faintly. They didn't speak much on the way home until they drove Jiang Xiaowei back to the Jiang mansion. You guys go home, I'll talk to you later. Jiang Xiaowei pinched Huamin's face before she turned around and headed home. When did you become friends with her? Qin Chu slowly asked on the way home. Not too long ago. I met her because I wanted to treat Ni Yang's illness. She's a famous psychologist. I know. You know her. Huamin was a little surprised. I don't know her, but I know her. You know that she's getting engaged soon, right? Qin Chu suddenly changed the topic. You even know that? Huamin was in disbelief. Was her husband a genius? Because the person she's getting engaged to is Gao Ran's cousin. Ha! Huamin was a little confused. Gao Ran's aunt's son works in the environmental protection industry. He's a smart guy. Gao Ran just complained to me yesterday that his cousin is getting engaged, and the other party is a fair, rich, and beautiful woman. What a coincidence. I see. Huamin suddenly understood. Jiang Xiaowei keeps a low profile in the socialite circle. She doesn't have any scandals, but she's a weirdo. I have to say that she admires you for being friends with her, Qin Chu analyzed. Huamin smiled embarrassedly. She said that I'm a little like her. We both have weird tempers, and I don't like to play by the rules. Ni Yang's illness isn't easy to treat, but I used a different method. She tried to hypnotize Ni Yang before, but she failed. I think that's the reason. Yeah. Qin Chu nodded and didn't say anything else. When they got home, Huamin couldn't help but sneeze 3 times in a row. Qin Chu's heart ached as he covered her with a thin blanket in the living room. I was in such a hurry that I forgot to wear a jacket. You might have caught a cold. Yeah, it's too cold. Huamin covered herself with the blanket and sat down on the sofa. Qin Chu silently turned around and went into the kitchen. A few minutes later, a bowl of brown sugar and ginger water. Drink it while it's hot. Thank you, honey. Huamian smiled happily as she took the sugar water and sipped it slowly. Qin Chu was an arrogant, cold, and indifferent person. Only when he was with Huamian would he show his gentleness. He could wait in the car for an hour, but when she heard that Su Yu was going to see her, she still believed him calmly. However, he did not say a word when she asked to follow Jiang Xiaowei's taxi. He could go into the kitchen to make her sugar water when she got home and caught a cold. He always gave her everything, just so that the person he loved wouldn't suffer. Morning, the two of them went to work. Huamin sent Jiang Xiaowei a WeChat message early in the morning. However, she didn't reply. It wasn't until noon that Jiang Xiaowei replied with a voice message. I think I drank too much last night and lost my memory. Huh, what do you remember? I only remember that you went to look for me. I don't remember how you got home. Jiang Xiaowei covered her head. The pain was unbearable. Then you don't remember the bet you made with Wei Liao? Who's Wei Liao? Jiang Xiaowei was confused. Huamin was speechless. If Wei Liao knew about this, he would probably be depressed to death. He would vomit and run naked. However, Jiang Xiaowei didn't even remember his existence. Forget it. I'll chat with you when I'm free. I'm busy. Okay. After Huamin finished his work, he was about to go to the cafeteria to eat when he saw Wei Liao at the door of his office. Su Yu wasn't there. It seemed like he came alone. Huamin, I brought you lunch. Wei Liao smiled as he handed over the lunchbox. Do we even know each other? Huamian felt like Wei Liao and her had nothing to do with each other, okay? It was still acceptable to talk to Su Yu, but Wei Liao brought him lunch. What was going on? Li Ji's crab roe dumplings are delicious. Eat them while they're hot. Can you tell me why you're looking for me first? Let me see if I can eat them. Huamin knew all too well how people tried to curry favor for no reason. Even Mr. Qin was no exception. Chapter 669. Wei Liao coughed and lowered his voice. Do you have Jiang Xiaowei's WeChat? You want to hit on her? Huamin's straightforward question made Wei Liao feel awkward. Can you not be so direct? Wei Liao chuckled. I have her WeChat, but what? Wei Liao asked timidly when he saw that Huamin wanted to say something but didn't. But she might be getting engaged in a week. Engaged? This news was like a blow to Wei Liao's head. After being in the industry for so many years, he finally met a woman that he was interested in. He thought that he would no longer be single. But, when Huamin said that she was getting engaged, Wei Liao almost went crazy. His heart fell to the bottom of the valley with a loud thud. So, I don't think it's useful for you to ask for her WeChat, Huamin added. Then I'll add her too. Maybe we can be friends in the future. Okay, see if she adds you or not. Huamin thought that since Jiang Xiaowei didn't want to get engaged, he might as well give Wei Liao a chance. What if the two of them liked each other? In this world, anything could happen. Wei Liao scanned the QR code and added Jiang Xiaowei, but after waiting for a while, she still didn't accept. She didn't add me, she probably didn't see my WeChat, Wei Liao muttered to himself. Huamin really wanted to tell him that she just sent Jiang Xiaowei a WeChat message, but he didn't want to upset him again. Thanks, Huamin, hurry up and eat, I'm leaving. After receiving Jiang Xiaowei's WeChat message, Wei Liao drove away in his sports car. Huamin sat in his office and ate the meal that Wei Liao had sent over. He thought about what had happened last night and found it quite funny. Come to think of it, Jiang Xiaowei was also a tough girl. She insisted on drinking with Wei Liao until she was left with only a pair of underpants. After a hearty meal, Huamin missed Qin Chu, so he sent him a WeChat message. Mr. Qin, have you eaten? She didn't receive a reply for a long time. Looking at the time, he should be on his lunch break. Huamin couldn't help but call her. No one picked up for a long time. Just as she was about to hang up, a woman's voice sounded from the other end. Hello? Isn't that Qin Chu's phone? Huamin was dumbfounded. Why would a woman pick up? She never picked up Qin Chu's phone calls because she didn't want to get involved in business matters. He's eating, I have his phone. The woman's voice was crisp. Huamin felt like the name sounded familiar, then, he suddenly remembered and asked tentatively, Jiang Linyue? May I ask who you are? Jiang Linyue asked on purpose. The truth was, Huamin didn't remember Jiang Linyue's name on purpose. It was just that last time when he went to the company to resolve a crisis. During the executive meeting, Jiang Linyue had been opposing her the entire time. She only stopped after he invited Mo Shui and Ni Yang and slapped her in the face. She could understand how the female employees felt about Qin Chu. After all, her boss was so handsome, rich, and handsome. Which woman wouldn't like him? However, the fact that Jiang Linyue could pick up Qin Chu's phone made her very, very unhappy. Moreover, the woman purposely asked, Who are you? Qin Chu never saved anyone's phone number, but he had hundreds of customer numbers in his head. However, Huamin was always the number one name in Qin Chu's phone. Huamin's nickname was Beloved Wife. She didn't believe that Jiang Linyue was blind. She could only say that this woman was starting to play mind games with her. Don't you know who I am? Huamin asked coldly. Haha, that's funny. How would I know if you didn't tell me? Jiang Linyue was also full of hostility. Why are you picking up Qin Chu's phone call? Huamin asked bluntly. No matter how busy he is, how could he pick up the phone? Of course, I picked it up for him, Jiang Linyue purposely said in a coquettish voice. Huamin chuckled and suddenly asked, Do you know a saying that's been circulating on the internet lately? What saying? Jiang Linyue didn't understand what Huamin meant and asked cautiously. Chapter 670. Knows wa no die, Hua Min said, word for word. Jiang Lingyue's face immediately darkened. Hua Mian usually looked weak and easy to get along with, but her words were so powerful. If you don't look for trouble, you won't die. It was a very practical warning. However, Jiang Linyue was no longer in the mood to listen. She was only thinking about how to break up Qin Chu and Hua Mian's love life. Is that so? But I just like to cause trouble. If I don't do it for a day, my whole body will feel uncomfortable. Jiang Linyue laughed viciously, blatantly challenging Hua Min's patience. Just then, Jiang Linyue heard footsteps outside the door. Then, before Hua Min could say anything, she hung up the phone and quickly deleted her call history. Then, she turned off her phone. Just as she placed her phone on the table, Qin Chu pushed open the door and walked in. They were just having a meeting about the new winter jewelry release. During this time, Qin Chu was called out by the CFO to talk about some personal matters. The other colleagues also went to drink water one after another and went to rest. However, just as Jiang Linyue was about to leave, she heard Qin Chu's phone ring. Originally, she was going to take President Qin's phone, but when she saw the caller ID, my beloved wife, she became envious. She couldn't help but feel envious, jealous, and hateful. So, she picked up the phone and started a fight with Hua Mian over the phone. Seeing Qin Chu walk in, Jiang Linyue immediately handed the phone to him. President Qin, you came back just in time. I was just about to give it to you, but it might have run out of battery and turned off. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He took the phone and looked at it, then, he turned around and left. Seeing that Qin Chu didn't suspect anything, Jiang Linyue seemed to sigh in relief. Hua Min had no intention of calling back, because he already knew what was going on. Jiang Linyue, that little bitch, undoubtedly took advantage of Qin Chu's absence to secretly pick up the phone. I still have to pretend that I have a very close relationship with Chairman Qin. I'm such an idiot. What kind of person was Hua Min? Would he misunderstand Qin Chu and hold a grudge against him because of this? Of course not. She trusted Qin Chu, just like how Qin Chu trusted her. Not only did she not call Qin Chu to question him about this, she even planned on secretly teaching Jiang Linyue, this scheming bitch, a lesson. She didn't lower herself to argue with Jiang Linyue at the opening ceremony last time, and thought she would be more low-key. Who knew that she would be even more flamboyant? That was why it was said that some people were obviously shameless. When they were for a while, they would say, they didn't know what to do when they say, why, when did you come home every day at night? She wondered if you were having an affair with Lon from next door, she said, for example, you for her husband for her. She, and you to Lon, no knows with her so, no. In other words, don't make things up, even if you don't mean it. Because after a long time, it would subtly send a message to her husband, making him wonder if he had an affair with that person called Xiaolon. Later on, when he saw Xiaolon, he would have a subtle reaction. In the end, things that shouldn't have happened would happen. The husband's cheating rate would obviously increase. This was the most unwise thing for a woman. Therefore, Hua Min didn't plan on mentioning Jiang Linyue to Qin Chu, because a clown like her didn't deserve to get between them. On the other side, Wei Liao added Jiang Xiaowei as a friend. After a long time, he still didn't get a response, so he couldn't sit still anymore. He added her twice in a row. He even left a comment saying, "Hello, I'm Wei Liao." Finally, Jiang Xiaowei replied, but she still didn't add him. Instead, she asked, "Who's Wei Liao?" "The one you made a bet with last night," Wei Liao explained patiently, sweating profusely. "The one I drank with last night was my good friend, Hua Min. Don't try to fool me." "Wei Liao, so, you're sober and not admitting it?" Wei Liao asked angrily. So, did I do anything to you? Jiang Xiaowei's question made Wei Liao speechless. Chapter 671. Fine, you win. Wei Liao had never met a woman like this in all his years. She almost crippled him last night, and now she was shamelessly asking who he was. He felt like Jiang Xiaowei was no longer on the same level as Hua Min. Hua Min was a rational person. He knew that he was married and didn't want to talk to Lord Su. However, he didn't pretend that he didn't know Lord Su. However, Jiang Xiaowei was definitely the type of witch who would eat people whole without spitting out their bones. Wei Liao thought that this woman was as sweet as a Japanese AV actress, but she was more wicked than anyone else. If they slept together, he wouldn't even have to take responsibility. The woman wouldn't even admit to it. It was a pity that someone like her was a doctor in psychology. She should have been the #1 woman at Imperial Star. She could deal with the media. Wei Liao felt depressed and decided not to add Jiang Xiaowei. Jiang Xiaowei also forgot about it. Her parents kept urging her to try on the dress for the engagement party, but she refused to go downstairs. The truth was, her parents knew that she didn't want to go. However, for their daughter's happy marriage, they didn't care about anything else. It was rare for Qin Chu to get off work early, so he drove straight to South Side to pick up Hua Min. Why are you here? Hua Min saw Mr. Qin and immediately stopped being shy. I'm picking you up from work so we can go to the old house for dinner and visit your mom. Okay, Jixin is home today. Hua Min was in a good mood when he heard that they were going back to his home. After they packed up, they got into Qin Chu's car and left the Audi in the parking lot at South Side. When the two passed by the supermarket, they went downstairs to buy a lot of food and fruit for dinner. When they arrived at the old house, it was almost 7 p.m. Luckily, they called their mother earlier, so they were waiting for them to eat. Sis, you're finally back, I'm starving, Jing Jixin yelled. To their surprise, Huang Yu was there as well. They had already become a pair of inseparable lovers. Huang Yu was still a bit reserved when she saw Hua Min and Qin Chu. Mian, you guys are back. Huang Yu, who was wearing a pink dress, was still young after all. She was dressed very delicately. Jixin was a warm guy who was nice to his sister, let alone his girlfriend. When he was with Huang Yu, the two of them had almost no arguments. Every day, they were sweet and loving. WeChat's WeChat moments. Hua Mian didn't understand why he was being so high profile, but she wouldn't stop him. After all, everyone had different ways of expressing joy. Since time was limited, Hua Mian bought ingredients for hot pot from the supermarket. The five of them sat under a big tree in the courtyard and began to eat the steaming hot pot. Yang Meirong was no longer as hostile towards Qin Chu as before. Occasionally, she would even say, "You should eat more." "Thank you, Auntie." Qin Chu was a bit flattered. Regardless of what kind of person Yang Meirong was, at least she raised Hua Min for more than 20 years. Moreover, she didn't favor Hua Min over her daughter just because she was a girl. No one thought about this. Although she sometimes had a bad mouth, she was actually a good person. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been tricked by that old thief Hua Jinghai again and again. To put it bluntly, Yang Meirong was actually an idiot. When she was young, she wasn't scheming and didn't know how to play tricks. Therefore, even after she had a child, she still lost to that bitch Shinjiani. "Sis, you looked so cool on the red carpet." You recognized you first, I didn't even dare to look at you." Jing Jixin giggled as he watched his sister tease him. Chapter 672. You little brat, are you itching for a beating? How dare you tease your sister? I'm not teasing you. Sis, you're such a weirdo. I can't believe you managed to keep up with that smoky makeup. Plus, you're even more charismatic than those celebrities. The media thought you were a newbie signed by GK and kept snapping photos of you. I'm dying of laughter. Huang Yu laughed as well. Senior sister isn't a beauty, but her charisma is undeniable. Plus, she's good at controlling the situation. Anyways, I like girls like her. If she didn't study medicine and became a celebrity, she would definitely be famous. You too, we're all family, stop sucking up to me. Thank you, just don't make fun of me. With her chopsticks in her mouth, Huamian smiled as she watched the two of them sing along. Jixin, don't be so rude to your sister. You're a kid, but your sister is married. Don't mess around like that. Your brother-in-law is here, Yang Meirong lectured her son. It's okay, Auntie, I'm used to it. Jixin is actually very good to Mian. Qin Chu rarely saw such a warm scene. During this time, there weren't enough vegetables, so Huamin got up to wash them. Jixin also quietly followed them. Sis. I want to ask you something. What is it? Do you have a baby yet? Huamin was speechless. She wasn't even worried about this, but it seemed like Jixin was even more worried than she was. Why do you keep asking? Huamin looked at Jixin, confused. Ha. I'm asking for Mom. She always calls me to ask, but other than the person involved, how would I know? Don't worry, I'll definitely tell you guys. Okay, hee, I also want to be an uncle. Jixin stuck out his tongue. You're still young. You're already 19. But I'm still a kid, ahem, come here, I want to ask you something. Now it was Huamin's turn to ask. What? Did you do it? Huamin was too embarrassed to ask. But Jixin immediately understood. She immediately replied, Sis, what era are we living in now? Do you think everyone is as innocent and simple as you? Love isn't as simple as holding hands. Of course, we're together. I was planning to move out with her when I started my internship in my 4th year. Then you have to be careful. Don't let Xiao Yu get pregnant. After all, you are still young. If you want it, there will be too much pressure. If you don't want it, abortion will harm the girl's body. Got it, sis. We have all taken precautions. Don't worry. Jing Jixin patted his sister's shoulder and said confidently. Huamin was also speechless. His younger brother was only 19 years old, but the way he spoke was so sophisticated. Was he thinking too little? Or did she think that Jixin was too pure? After dinner, Huang Yu was cleaning the yard while Qin Chu and Jixin sat in the yard drinking tea. Huamin went into the kitchen to help his mother wash the dishes. Mom, in the future, if you have any questions, just ask me. Don't call Jixin. After all, he's a boy. It'll be awkward if he keeps asking me if I have a baby, Huamin smiled coyly. You, don't be so heartless. You're like me. Since you're lucky enough to marry into a rich family, you have to plan for everything. It doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl, you can't not have children. I know, it's not that I don't want children. I really don't have any right now. Huamin looked innocent. Your body is a bit thin. Find a reliable Chinese medicine doctor and see if you have a cold body. Take more Chinese medicine to nourish your body. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Mom. I studied medicine, so I know. The reason I can't get pregnant isn't necessarily because I'm sick. It's because pregnancy is actually very magical. The combination of sperm and egg isn't as simple as you think. In fact, conception is an extremely complicated process. Sigh, forget it, you wouldn't understand even if I told you. Huamin originally wanted to explain it to his mother, but after a few sentences of professional knowledge, his mother wasn't interested in listening, so he decided not to say anything. Then, she took out an envelope from her bag and handed it over. "Mom, take this money." "Why are you giving me money again?" "I don't need money." Yang Meirong refused to take it. Chapter 673. "Don't worry, Mom, this money doesn't belong to the Qin family, it's my own salary. I don't lack food right now, so I don't need this money. Sometimes, you don't even want to eat when your store isn't doing well. Don't be so hard on yourself, we're all grown up now, it's time for you to enjoy life." No matter what Yang Meirong said, Huamin stuffed the envelope into his mother's apron pocket. There were 20,000 yuan inside. Huamin didn't dare to give his mother too much money, because even if he gave her too much cash, she wouldn't spend it. It wasn't safe to keep it at home. "Okay, then I'll keep it for you. If you need it in the future, I'll give it to you." "I don't need it, just think of it as living expenses." "Mom, if you want to go back to your hometown, I'll take some time off to go back with you." Huamin vaguely remembered that his mother hadn't gone back to her hometown for a few years. "No, why would I go back? Your grandparents aren't here anymore, only those gambler uncles of yours. They only want money when they see me, nothing else. A while ago, your aunt saw that you were interviewed on TV and called me. She said that you married into a rich family and wanted you to find a good partner for her schooling, but I rejected her. I don't want to talk to someone like your aunt. I might get into trouble if I don't deal with her." "Okay, but if you want to go back to your hometown, remember to tell me. I'll go with you." "Okay, I'm not going back. From now on, wherever you and Jixin are, that's where my home is," Yang Meirong said as she washed the dishes. "Mom, oh, right, I suddenly thought of something." "What is it?" "I heard, not long after I was born, Zhenghai wanted to do a DNA test. Uncle Jing carried me there. Yeah, I wasn't out of confinement at the time, so I didn't have time to care about that. That proved that I'm his daughter. Did he say anything?" Huamin asked tentatively. "He gave me a sum of money, about 200,000 yuan. I don't care about his filthy money. I told your Uncle Jing to return it, and we've never seen each other again." "Oh." Huamin looked thoughtful. "What's wrong? Why are you asking about this all of a sudden?" Yang Meirong looked at her daughter curiously. "It's nothing. I suddenly remembered that I caused quite a commotion back then, and I even did a DNA test. Zhenghai is such a cautious person, so he should have done a DNA test." "That's right. He's an old fox." Then, Huamin didn't say anything else. After washing the dishes, he walked out of the kitchen. "It's getting late. Hubby, let's go home." "All right." Qin Chu stood up gracefully. "Brother-in-law. Don't forget that I'm going to do an internship at your place during the holidays." "All right." Qin Chu nodded. Then, the two of them bid farewell to their mother and walked out of the old house. "What did you ask about Jixin again?" "It's nothing. Don't spoil him too much," Huamin advised. "I know. Honey, there's something strange. Can you help me analyze it?" In the car, Huamin thought about what had happened recently and decided to share it with Qin Chu. "Okay, go ahead. I'm not Zhenghai's daughter, that's for sure. However, I heard that Uncle Jing took me to Zhenghai for a DNA test and confirmed that I was his daughter. At the time, Zhenghai gave me 200,000 yuan for child support. My mom didn't want it and asked Uncle Jing to return it to Zhenghai. What do you want to ask?" Qin Chu asked as he drove. "I want to ask, why did Uncle Jing hide my identity from me and Zhenghai?" "Maybe he didn't want to reveal the truth," Qin Chu said slowly. Hua Min nodded. Not only that, I suspect that Uncle Jing didn't give the 200,000 yuan my mom returned to Hua Jinghai. Instead, he gave it to the doctor who did the DNA test. Qin Chu continued. Smart, that's exactly what I was thinking. Now, everything makes sense. Uncle Jing tried his best to hide my identity and worked with the doctor who did the DNA test to fool Hua Jinghai. That's why the Hua family doesn't know about it. Oh, wait, I can't say that the Hua family doesn't know. I think Hua Xiqian knows about my identity. Hua Xiqian. Qin Chu felt extremely uncomfortable when he heard his name. Chapter 674. Yeah. How did he know? I'm not sure, I just have a feeling that he knows a lot of things. Hua Min said slowly as he rested his chin on his hand. That's not completely impossible. Anyways, it's better to stay away from Hua Xiqian. I know. Hua Min nodded. When they got home, Hua Min originally wanted to eat some snacks and watch some soap operas with Qin Chu. However, he picked up a phone call and began to work again. Honey, I'm going to the study for a video conference. Okay. Don't wait up for me, go to bed if you're sleepy. Okay. Hua Min nodded obediently. Qin Chu was about to go upstairs when he suddenly stopped and said, Oh right, honey, GK's 30-year anniversary party is next week at the Ritz-Carlton. It's going to be very grand and there's going to be a grand banquet. If you want to invite friends, tell Yang in advance and he'll arrange a list for you. Okay. Hua Min nodded, then Qin Chu went into the study and began to work. Hua Min, on the other hand, took a shower, changed into his pajamas, and played with WeChat in bed. Sister Ling, you've been very busy lately, when are you going to come out for dinner? I've been flying a long line lately, damn it. The flight attendant probably thinks I'm too pretty, so she kept delaying my annual leave and wouldn't sign it. I have to work non-stop and have no time to go out and have fun. Ha, everyone has their busy days. The weather is getting colder now, so it's the peak season for your airline. A lot of us northerners are going south because of the cold. Of course. I don't even have time to drink water. I don't want to work anymore. When I marry into a rich family, I'll just quit and live in a mansion like you, drive a luxury car, and flirt with super rich people. Pfft, don't talk nonsense. When did I flirt with super rich people? Hua Min was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Haha, that's right. You're not the one trying to flirt with Su Yu. It's Su Yu who wants to flirt with you. Zhu Lingling laughed. Do you think I'm a tea leaf that you can brew whenever you want? Hua Min replied. Ha ha ha. Stop laughing. What's going on between you and Gao Ren recently? There's nothing going on. Are you lying to me like a 3-year-old child? I don't believe you. Nothing really happened. Humph, if you don't tell me, I'll have my Lord Qin interrogate Gao Ran. Don't. Actually, we just had a meal together a few days ago. It was his treat. He said that there was a new roasted pig trotter restaurant on the west side of the city, so we went there, Zhu Lingling said with a guilty conscience. What about the roasted pig trotters after you finished eating? Hua Min continued to interrogate. After eating the roasted pig trotters, of course we'll go back home and find our mothers. I don't. It's true. Don't overthink it. We're as pure as ethanol. Humph, ethanol isn't pure. It's alcohol, Zhu Lingling, sis, don't ask anymore. If something happens, I'll definitely tell you. It's fine if you don't tell me. I'm going to ask Lin Xuejiao out for dinner with Gao Ran in the next few days so that they can get back together. Hua Min said on purpose, fuck, you wouldn't dare. Zhu Lingling immediately lost her cool. See? I knew you had something up your sleeve, you're torturing me. I admit that I like him a little, okay? But don't tell me. If he doesn't confess, I won't confess. I'll hold it in. Let's see who'll go crazy from holding it in. Zhu Lingling said proudly. Fine, your way of thinking is ridiculous. Huamin looked helpless. After chatting with Zhu Lingling, Huamin made a cup of coffee and brought it to Qin Chu. Qin Chu was in a video conference with more than a dozen executives on the other side. Huamin immediately saw that Jiang Linyue was there as well, so she purposely put the coffee aside. Then, she wrapped her arms around Qin Chu's neck and said coquettishly, Honey, I don't dare to sleep alone. Stop the conference and stay with me. Seeing a young lady acting coquettishly with the big boss, the executives on the other side of the video conference were all confused. Jiang Linyue felt terrible. Chapter 675. Qin Chu turned around dotingly and looked into Huamin's sad eyes. His heart immediately ached. So, he turned around and said, That's all for today. Thank you for your hard work. The executives were once again in an uproar. The president was at a critical point in the meeting, but a young lady suddenly threw a tantrum and interrupted the meeting. Did he have to be so willful? Sir, we were just at a critical point, but you still haven't told us the details of the lucky draw. Are we going to use our own jewelry or the current Italian brand OW? Jiang Linyue didn't want to give up, so she tried to use work to tie down Qin Chu. Qin Chu coldly glanced at the people in the video and said, If I'm the one who decides all the details, why would the company need executives like you? Everyone was speechless. No one dared to say anything. Qin Chu reached out his hand and closed the video without hesitation. Honey. I'm sorry, next time I'll try to finish it during the day so I don't have to work at night. Qin Chu looked at Huamin apologetically. To be honest, Huamin was extremely touched. She only wanted to play a little trick and show off her territorial rights to that scheming bitch, Jiang Linyue. However, she didn't expect Qin Chu to spoil her so much that he even stopped such an important meeting. Even she felt a little guilty. Was she being too reckless? Honey, why don't you continue with the meeting? I can sit here and keep you company. Huamin tried to persuade him. No, it's too late. You have to work tomorrow and can't stay up late. Let's go. Qin Chu put his arm around Huamin's shoulder. The two walked out of the study. Honey, are you hungry? Qin Chu suddenly asked. Huamin shook her head. The truth was, she was sleepy. If she didn't see that Jiang Linyue was also having a video conference, she was going to make Qin Chu a cup of coffee and go back to bed. However, since that woman was there, she had no choice but to act coquettishly. She didn't expect Qin Chu to be so awesome. Without another word, he immediately closed the video conference. He spoiled her to the heavens. On the other side, the boss had already turned off its camera. The others were still there. Director Jiang, you too. President Qin is famous for doting on his wife. Why did you have to go against him? Someone sighed. Jiang Linyue said coldly, If a young lady truly loves President Qin, then she shouldn't interfere with our company's business. What is this? Was he toying with the warlords with the fire beacon? If she keeps messing around like this, GK will fall under her hands sooner or later. She's just a femme fatale. TSK. Don't let the president hear this, or he'll fire you. Alright, it's getting late, let's all get some rest. The high-ranking officials logged off one after another. Jiang Linyue turned off her computer, furious. She had prepared a lot of materials and details, and she was going to show them off to the president. However, before she could show them off, Huamin ruined everything. Huamin, we have a lot of time ahead of us. Other people might be scared of you, but I, Jiang Linyue, am not. Jiang Linyue rolled up the materials she prepared into a ball and threw them into the trash can. On the wide bed, the two fell asleep in each other's arms. Qin Chu hugged Huamin like he was hugging a child. Honey, will you be this good to me in the future? Huamin asked as she wrapped her arms around Qin Chu's neck. Of course. Have you always been like this? Yes. Qin Chu didn't hesitate at all. What about in our next life? If we cross the river of forgetfulness and drink Mingpa's soup, will you still remember me? Honey, why are you so sad today? Qin Chu smiled as he gently stroked Huamin's hair. Chapter 676. I don't know, I just suddenly had an epiphany, Huamin mumbled quietly. His wife had always been very rational and rarely asked childish questions about her past life like a little girl. However, he was still willing to cooperate and answer, no matter how many bowls of soup I drink, I will never forget you. Huamin tightened her arms around Qin Chu's waist. She was suddenly very afraid of being separated from Qin Chu. It would be best if they could live like this forever. They could fight, they could have cold wars, but she didn't want to be separated anymore. Although she pretended to be indifferent when Qin Chu was gone and had already let go of him, only she knew that she had never let go. It was the same when she dated Ning Ziyuan for a few years. It was because she was too calm that she didn't care about him at all. She agreed to marry Ning Ziyuan because she knew that there was no hope between her and Qin Chu. Until the king returned, no matter how cruel the methods he used to bring her back to him, it was only because he loved her deeply. During the 7 years in the States, he endured a long period of loneliness and longing. All of this was so that when he returned to China, he could officially marry her. Marrying Huamin was a dream that he had planned since he was young. He had never given up. He would always cherish the time he spent with Huamin. Because time was passing, they were both getting old. He didn't want to waste a single second. Huamin fell asleep peacefully in Qin Chu's arms. Qin Chu gently kissed her forehead. Mian, don't worry, I will do my best to help you find your parents. The next morning, after the two finished breakfast, Qin Chu drove Huamin to South Side and then went to GK. As soon as Huamin arrived at South Side, he was dizzy with work. Ever since the hospital was reformed, it seemed to be many times more popular than before. Some patients even recovered and refused to leave, even if it meant burning money. Huamin was speechless. At that moment, Huamin's phone rang. Sister Huamin, I'm waiting for you in the VIP hypnosis room. It was Ni Yang's voice. Okay, I'll be right there. Huamin said a few words and went up to the top floor. Ni Yang was still wearing his sunglasses and mask. Sitting there, he looked much better. His eyes were no longer blue and his skin was dark yellow. Sister Huamin. How have you been these days? It's all right. I'm sleeping much better now. I used to sleep less than 4 hours the day before, but now I can sleep for 6.5 hours. 6.5 is not enough. Normal people sleep for 8 hours. You still have to work hard. Ni Yang nodded. Yeah, I know. Also, I finished watching Naruto. It was so good that I almost cried. As long as you like it. Are there any other cartoons that you can introduce? Slam Dunk. Although the movie is a bit old, the spirit here is worth learning. Okay, I'll download it when I get home today. Don't just play all the time. Hasn't GK started promoting it? They have. Mr. Qin is really awesome. Other than making a New Year's movie for me and Imo Shua, he also made a sci-fi movie for me and a few other Hollywood superstars. However, my schedule is too full right now, so Sister Ingzi has already rescheduled me to 3 months from now. That's good. Don't tire yourself out. Celebrities don't necessarily have to take on more movies. You have to take on quality ones and avoid crappy ones. I know. Have you seen that person recently? Huamin suddenly asked. Na Yang's originally good mood instantly fell to the bottom. No, I don't want to see her for the rest of my life. About you guys. I'll help you sort things out when I have time. Oh right, take these vitamins when you're free. They'll strengthen your immune system. Huamin took out a bottle of vitamins from her white lab coat. Thank you, Sister Huamin. Okay, don't be so polite with me. Call me if you need anything. Okay. After sending off Na Yang, Huamin was just about to go do his rounds when he saw Jiang Xiaowei walk in. Huamin, come here for a second. Jiang Xiaowei waved her hand and mysteriously called Huamin to the side. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.